what's going to be for lunch. I didn't get the email, or else I would have told everybody. Maybe they will when it goes. Fabian, now just added. Now the 3 most handsome people working at Trader TV Live is now on the stream. Let's start over. Good day there today, Neil.
Why is he holding a broom is what I want to know.
He does whatever he wants. All right, let's go back over to the show. See you, everybody.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That's your boy, the Chilean Nightmare. That's your other boy, Joey Options. And I'm Sharif. We're going to wait for everyone to come on in from the other stream. Joseph.
Baby.
It was a good long weekend. No complaints there. We're going to wait for everyone to weasel on over. Shout out to JF Trader and a proper dang paradox. You changed your name. I absolutely love it, my man. Shout out to you. We got Pitchbull. We got Triple J. We got Kalua. Cesar Sandoval. Marcos joining us as well. We got Sebastian in the Rock Dock. Paul Goodson and Brandon, shout out to Mateus Lane and Ezekiel Lepera. Mark's Trading and Investing, shout out to the OG Ronaldo Monty G and Juan Padilla. The small cap gapper trader Ram extraordinaire. We got Big Scott H and Stocka BGZ P Money. Shout out to my main man Jay Lee. Shout out to Burlington. Callum Mitchell Miller and Evan Bazinga. I'm going with Apple, obviously, on that. The poll is now active. Ladies and gents, get into the chat right now and vote for your favorite ticker, and we'll cover it for you on the afternoon rundown. We're not done talking about everybody else joining us, though. Tim O'Grady saying XRP. We got Simon. We got Richard Peterson, Roger, T-Man, and Sunday's blessed. Could not agree more. Hope you had a blessed Sunday. It is now Monday, though, Joseph, so we should be ready to go, baby.
Man, it's chaotic here, man. I was wearing my hat on the train this morning. We got a hair day. Hey. I spilled soap on myself this morning. It was just absolutely chaotic, man. But hey, we're here. It's Monday. We're here. I told you what happened to me earlier as well, too, which is it's a tough one, too.
Tough one.
But hey, we're happy. There's nothing. Can't cry over spilt milk there, guys.
No.
But yeah. Did we talk about lesson today, or?
Yeah. We got everything lined up, but I want to know if you had anything to yap about before we got into the lesson du jour.
Sharif, we're gonna take a look at the top performing sectors this morning. All right. So guys, in first place here we have the tech sector up about 0.75%. Then we have consumer discretionary up about 0.7% on the session, and then in third place we have the communication sector. All right, guys. So let's take it from the bottom to the top here. Let's see what we got in last place here, the worst performing sector. That will be utilities, down about 2% on the session there, guys. And then energy sitting in second last place, down about 1.9%. And then financials in third last, down about 1 1/4 there, guys. So that is the top performing sectors this morning.
All right, guys, there's a whole bunch of small cap gappers that are running. There's big boy small cap gappers. We're going to get to that in a hot second, but we got to talk a little bit about the lesson today, and we're going to get quite basic, just to kind of start things anew. We're going to talk about trends, and we're going to have multiple lessons on the topic of trends with different topics obviously being covered. Let's start it very basic as we always do and just start about the general concept of trend Ram. That's what we're going to talk about today. So by the end of today's lessons, hopefully we'll be able to understand the distinctions between a major trend, an intermediate trend, and a near-term trend in financial markets, obviously. We'll also discuss how these trends interact and influence market behavior. So let's start right into it right now. So introduction into the market trends. What is a trend? You know, most people know what this is, but we're gonna explain things anew anyway. So in technical analysis, a trend is a general direction where the market or a specific asset is moving. So trends are classified based on their duration. And that's what I meant when I said, you know, these longer, medium, and then shorter term trends. So understanding these classifications is crucial for you to analyze market behavior in general. So the three classifications go as follows: a major trend, an intermediate trend, and then a near-term trend. And we'll talk about the definitions of each. So here we go. This is kind of just a regular screenshot of Apple. And this goes all the way back to 2008. So this was obviously pre-split because we were dancing with 200 over here. You can just see minor downtrend, a minor correction. It could be 1 or 2 days, maybe a week, right? And then you have an intermediate downtrend. This kind of works with Elliott waves. So if you remember our lessons or you understand Elliott wave theory, this kind of fits into that whole narrative there. So you have a bit of an intermediate downtrend, maybe, you know, like a month and a half. But when you look at the overall chart on a multi-year basis, it's up and to the dang right. And so that means that the major trend is up. So very easy to explain, a lot harder to execute on IRL. So let's talk about major trends, because that's the big one we want to talk about right now. So what is a major trend? Essentially, it is the dominant trend in the market. It's often lasting for more than a year. In duration, it represents the long-term direction of the market, whether it's upward, downward, or even sideways. So Dow theory classifies trends a little bit differently than maybe Elliott wave. So according to Dow theory, the major trend is usually in effect for longer than a year. However, commodities or futures markets, because of their specific nuances, their time frame may be shortened to anything over 6 months, but definitely shorter than a year. Okay, the importance cannot be understated here of the major trend. This is the big boy trend that we're looking at. So everything else is, I don't want to say noise, but this is the major thing you need to be looking at. So major trends are crucial for long-term investors who aim to align their investments with the broader market direction. Your understanding of the major trend helps helps you avoid getting caught in the short-term or the medium-term fluctuations and helps you focus on that long-term perspective. Again, you know, we're intraday trading today, but most of us, I would say the great majority of us, have long-term holdings as well as swing trades as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at here, Ram. Moving along our merry way. This starts in 2008 and ends in 18. This is for the SPX, which we know is not the SPY. It is the index proper. And then as you can see here, you know, with some outlying events like the great financial crisis in 08 and 09. And this doesn't obviously show March of 2020, but those would be periods of, you know, pullbacks. Intermediate trends, on the other hand, they typically last from about 3 weeks to several months, and they represent a collection within the major trend. So the intermediate trend is ensconced. It is composed by, it makes up the major trend. So it's composed within it, is what I meant to say. So this trend reflects the market's temporary movement against the major trend direction. So if you're looking at the major trend, the intermediate trend, so if the major trend is up and to the right, then almost by definition, the intermediate trend should be a pullback. Because if the intermediate trend is moving up, how can you distinguish it from the major trend? So that has to form part of your thinking. If the major trend is up, then the intermediate trend usually is the opposite of that. Okay? Several months within a major trend, this trend reflects the market's temporary movement against the major trend. That's what I kind of wanted to say. The characteristics of the intermediate trend in an upward major trend, the intermediate trend might show a temporary decline or sideways movement where the market corrects itself before resuming along its merry way in the upward direction. An example for just so you know, in the market, if the market is in a long-term uptrend, the intermediate trend might represent a correction, right? Where the market pauses for a few months before continuing in the upward trajectory. Kind of already mentioned that. The role, though, of the intermediate trend in market analysis can't be understated. Intermediate trends are essential for swing trades, right, who focus on capturing these corrective phases within the major trends. So understanding these intermediate trends can also help long-term investors refine their entries and their exits. So couple of reasons why we use intermediate trends, right? We can swing trade with it. So if you have a specific swing trade account that's separate from your long-term investing, have at it there. Intermediate trends, definitely good for swinging, but it's also good for the long-term investor that wants to position into the stock. We never want to buy at highs. At least I don't want to buy at highs. So I want to buy when there is a nice correction. And that's what the intermediate trend is. It gives long-term investors or people holding something for a really long time the opportunity to enter into the name. So a couple of reasons why we focus on the intermediate trend. And here it is, kind of, we're moving along a merry way. And look, the consolidation period as well counts as an intermediate trend. It doesn't have to be a corrective phase. I said most of the time, but not all the time. And last but not least, near-term trends, right? A near-term trend is the shortest trend classification. It typically lasts, less than 2 or 3 weeks in duration. These trends are often just minor fluctuations within the intermediate trend. The long-term trend, these are fluctuations within the intermediate trend, and they are frequently observed in the day-to-day market movements. Their characteristics are quite, pretty simple to explain. They can be highly volatile and are often influenced by immediate effects of market news, economic data releases, or other short-term factors. So that's kind of what we're talking about there. And their application, near-term trends are crucial for traders and short-term, for day traders and short-term traders alike who aim to capitalize on these brief market movements. However, for long-term investors, these trends are often considered noise. You're not really trying to position your long-term account off the a short-term trend pullback. It's typically off the intermediate trend that you're working your way in and out of these longer-term positions. We'll stop there for a little bit, and then we'll continue and we'll talk about the interaction between these trends when we continue in a little bit. Joseph, what's your situation over there?
Yeah, good look there on the trends, Sharif. I definitely agree with everything you have to say there. I always keep an eye out on the primary, secondary, and tertiary trends as he identified there. So yeah, guys, I'm hearing some NVDA. Let's see if we can break through VWAP. But I had a officially unburdened. Joe, would love to hear about some entry-level strategies to get comfortable doing them. Seems scary to me initially. Yeah, and that's totally reasonable. As soon as you start off at options, it can be slightly intimidating. So no worries, you're not alone in that boat. So, but
Did
just
he say
keep it
unburdened? He said unburdened?
Yeah, officially unburdened.
I'm unburdened by what has been. Have you heard that expression before?
No.
Oh, we got to get to that.
Okay.
I'm unburdened by what has been. I'm just, people probably understand that.
Yeah, I think I get what you're getting at there. So yeah, no burden, so no weight on the shoulders, maybe. But so anyways, getting back to what you're asking, just start off with buying like cheap stocks. Go look at some mid caps, some things that are under $20, and then pull up your options chain, and then just start constructing pretend trades as if you were to open the positions. So just start with lower priced options, buy them out a couple months out, so you're not too worried about expiration. You get comfortable just putting together the combinations of trades. But my opinion to you would just be get comfortable just buying puts and buying calls at first, right? And just buy really cheap ones, some that are like 25 cents, 50 cents. And then once you get comfortable doing that, just executing those positions, then you can start doing the combination positions. So you can start doing bull put spreads and bull call spreads, and bear put spreads. Those are just net debits, so you don't have to worry about selling any options just yet because that is a little bit more advanced. And you do have to understand the risks that go along with that. But when you create these debit spreads and credit spreads, they're essentially like a fundamental base of how you create majority of combinations of contracts. But just start off buying cheap contracts, get comfortable with the execution, go buy like LUV or LVS. That's what I started writing. One of my first options that I wrote was LVS. So just because it was cheap, I wanted to get comfortable. But just again, I'll mention again, just go for the lower price stocks where you can afford, because you're gonna have to pay tuition and understand how to put in these combinations of contracts. Because I did before. I remember when I first started writing options, I kept putting in my stop, but then my position would just put me out right away. And I'm like, what the heck? I did this like 3 or 4 times. And then eventually I realized that when I had to set my stop on my net credit spreads, that net credit has to be negative, and I was putting it as a positive. So just those little nuances, just those little things that you need to get comfortable with. It's totally okay to be intimidated. I definitely was when I first started. But again, just get comfortable, cheaper stocks, just buy a option. close it right away, then do a combination spread, like a debit spread, and then you can get into that more advanced stuff. So hopefully that helped with your question. But yeah, guys, I'm over here in some NVDA. Let's see if we can continue to move higher. I liked it this morning. I mentioned if you guys go watch on YouTube our week ahead trades, NVDA was my pick for the week. And I said that we were going to get a potential bounce on this indecision candle. And sure enough, a couple days later, it did bounce. So we are holding those specific levels at 131.90, 132. And now we're looking to move a little bit to the northeast there. So we are moving in the direction that we want to. But just keep in mind, the market is, I mean, I'm not going to say it's toppy or anything. The Qs are definitely on their way, just shy of all-time highs. And the SPY is sitting at all-time highs right now. So I do like that. I am bullish equities for the foreseeable future. We were talking about this on Friday, and it's just there's no reason for us really to get out right now. I mean, we have a bullish administration, usually good for stocks. Interest rates are being cut, and we're in this AI revolution. So as of right now, I think it's risk on. Wait for your pullbacks, but I do think we can continue for the next year or two in a bullish trend, Sharif.
All right.
Oh, whoa, that thing's buzzing.
I know. I didn't even have eyes on this. This is a holdover from Wednesday, Joseph. So, here, all right, guys, let's talk about the small cap gappers, because I know the big boys are moving, but there's also lots of small cap gappers. We're going to get back to that, though. The small cap gappers can wait. Adara, though, has got something for us right now at the big desk.
Really quickly, I just want to mention Intel here. INTC up about 5% right now on the day still. There is a headline that just came through a little bit earlier that I want to address. Bloomberg reporting here that apparently Pat Gelsinger, CEO of Intel, was forced out. This is not super surprising. It has been worded as a retirement, but it was generally viewed that this was basically a forced move due to what the stock has done. But apparently here, Pat Gelsinger has been forced out because the board grew frustrated, quote unquote, with processes. So not really sure exactly the specifics of that. If we get any more information, I'll let you know. But apparently, Bloomberg reporting that Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, or now former CEO Pat Gelsinger, was forced out. And apparently also there was actually no information known about this except for like large people in the board until Sunday afternoon. So they kept this really hush-hush, even from the company itself here, that Pat Gelsinger would be stepping down, guys.
Damn, they kept that hush-hush, eh?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a big news. Guys, it's tough to hold on to your job when your stock is down 50% year to date, and some of your competitors are up almost triple digits. So heads had to roll. We wish Patty G the best in whatever he has to do going forward. I'm sure he's not going to be hurting for money. He's got plenty of money, so we don't have to feel too badly for him. But coming a new age now, we'll see if this great American company can get back on its feet. It's got a hard road to hoe, though. So we'll see exactly how this all unfolds. Wishing Intel the best, man. Why would I want any different? So let's have a look at the small cap gappers right now. There's a whole bunch going here, but they're giving up a little bit of the move now. So they were quite aggressive when I threw them on there. Now they're looking more like they've entered the midday. SNTI looks like a dang monster. This thing closed out at $2 and change, guys, on Friday, touching almost $17 today. $16.94 HOD. I very much want to trade this one in and around that $10 area near the volume weighted average price. There's a bit of a buy zone, in my humble opinion, between that 9 1/3 and $10, because that's where VWAP is. VWAP 9 1/3, give or take, and then $10 being the $10 whole dollar level has my attention. It's still putting in lower lows and lower highs right now. The downward channel still hasn't changed. This could be a bull flag continuation. So what? It's $4 or $5 off its highs. It's still well off the low, well above VWAP. So this one still in play. That is until it drops below and closes below the volume weighted average price. SNTI up light, a decent, a not so hardy 457% on the day. I say that jokingly, of course. Second in line in terms of big boy movers here. BT, multiple halter. We've got to go to the 1 minute to get a full look at what this one's been doing at halt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up halts to start, then one down, then a couple of more to the upside. So we're off the high a day, but we've got a very, very respectable up halt, down halt ratio right now of, 6 to 1. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 to 1. So halted right now, up at 12 1/3. We'll keep eyes on this one. I'm seeing the tap as 12.31 right now, so nothing really changing on that bad boy. PPBT up a light 266%. So we've got multiple triple-digit winners today in small cap gapper world. Some more calm possible trades. I was going to mention FOSL, up a respectable 40%, but this did exactly the opposite of what I want to see. It got above VWAP nicely, and then it had an aggressive move down, a V-shaped retracement below the volume-weighted average price, and then to put icing on top of the cake there, it tries to work its way back into VWAP and does a very clean rejected of the volume-weighted average price. So this one looking like it's going to dance right now between that $2 area and that 220 area where VWAP is hanging out. ENVX, a bit of a different story. This one is not up that aggressively on percentage-wise, but look at the pattern. Still very much above the 10 exponential, moving into that $11 area, really not putting any lower highs or lower lows. So ENVX, despite the fact that it's not up as aggressively as some of its counterparts, its chart holding on a lot better. And we're going to send it to Adair in 1 second, but I want to mention ZETA, kind of the same look as ENVX in the sense that it's moved up aggressively from that open, but still hanging out above the 10 exponential, and by virtue of that, well above VWAP. Adair, what do you got for us?
What we're going to do here is what we do every day around 11:20 a.m. We're going to take a look at these larger movers to the upside and the downside in the S&P 500. Now, we have the NASDAQ outperforming the SPY. A lot of strength in a lot of these individual big tech names. We're talking TSLA and the NASDAQ to the upside. We know Intel and SMCI up quite significantly in positive catalysts. But what about some of these names we haven't talked about as much that are trading sharply higher today so far? We have Broadcom here, AVGO, near day's highs. Look at this. Basically, a bull flag kind of look, then a bit of a rounded bottom here, trying to push to the upside. Looks like Broadcom has benefited from the U.S. government announcing its latest round of sanctions here for China's semiconductor space. So AVGO pushing higher on that. Then we have AMAT, Applied Materials, likely moving higher, at least in part because of that catalyst as well. It also could be a bit of a continuation play. On Friday morning, the stock was maintained here with an outperform rating by Bernstein. So AMAT, though there was a bit of a topping tail candle here of about 4 1/3%. It's worth noting Lam Research, LRCX, also sharply higher today. And last but not least here, we do have FSLR. I apologize, that is not the chart there. I'll pull up the FSLR chart. Piper Sandler here raising its price target for the stock from 210 to 250. So up about 5% right now is First Solar. And make sure that you've taken the time to vote in our poll there in the chat for the ticker that you want to see on the rundown. You have 4 tickers to choose from until 12:30 p.m., at which point that poll will close, a new poll will open, and the top 5 of those 8 tickers will be featured on the afternoon rundown, with Sharif talking there on that green screen as Neil and Sean give their plays in the stocks, guys.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have the green screen back for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I will gesticulate wildly for anybody who's wondering.
Yeah.
That's going to be the look. So those are the small cap gappers. Joseph, obviously there's the large caps, specifically the Mag 7 invoked today. So we're definitely going to be keeping an eye out on those. Any thoughts, any ideas weaseling into any of those trades other than NVIDIA?
As of right now, I wouldn't say no. I mean, we're kind of pulling back. I was looking at CCL. It popped up on my volume scanner. I wanted to see what was going on that. So I believe it got an upgrade today. So maybe we'll get a continuation of that trend, but it's put in a decent day, opening up around like under 25.50s and then traded up to 26.60s. So that's a good look. And then someone mentions SMCI as well too for a potential breakout trade. I said it might need a little momentum to break high of day, but as of right now, it's breaking high of day, putting in new potential highs as well. So we'll keep an eye on that, and then Sharif, we're going to keep our eye on Bitcoin as well too, just to see what's going on. I expected this pullback. We've kind of been hovering around that 95, 96 area to like 97, 98. So I'm just waiting for momentum to pick back up in this thing because I was reading a lot. I actually started a new book on the weekend, Sharif, called Bubble or Revolution. I'm not too sure if you've heard of it, but it's been an interesting read so far about blockchain technology, and then I watched a lot of stuff as well too on Bitcoin. So apparently the demand for Bitcoin is way outpacing the supply. So we can expect this thing. Yeah, we can expect this thing to continue to move higher and higher. It just might take some time. I do think 100K is almost inevitable. It's just a matter of time. And one thing that was really interesting that I found out on the weekend. So we've mined about close to 90% of, I think over 90% by this time of all Bitcoin that will ever be mined. What? And a whopping 25 to 30% of that Bitcoin is lost and can never be found again.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I read that. So
people that mined it on a hard wallet, they lost the hard wallet.
As soon as you lose your wallet, then you have those people that like his girlfriend threw out his computer and stuff like that. So once you lose that address, it's near impossible to retrieve again. So even they say the supply is significantly less than what is actually out there. So you got guys like Michael Saylor just buying it all. I heard him say, I don't know if it was a fake, some deep fake stuff, but he said 13 million a coin by the time.
Wow.
Yeah, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, we'll see. We'll take it one day at a time. But yeah, we're just going to hold on to this NVIDIA. We don't got too much space left here, Sharif. It is pulling back and it has rejected VWAP, so we're going to reassess what's going on.
Love it, man. So it took a couple of beak wetters here on a VWAP dip on the dead one. Apple picked it up, I think, mid 50s there. Just took out some 75. So we're going to layer some orders on this bad boy, see if we can extract some profitability off this name. I don't typically trade Apple because I don't trade it that well, quite frankly. So we're going to hopefully do a little bit better. 3 outs so far. This one's really going. Let's see if we can take 240 again, layering the outs here on AAPL. Shout out to Donnie Z. Donnie Zimbabwe, $2 super chat. Still got on to half of my 512 triple Q calls. Sell ? Brother, that is a good look. I'm bullish the market going into the new year. I just think that there's the Trump tailwind. I think there's going to be a lot of deregulation that could help a lot of these companies. That's just my humble opinion. You do whatever you want. That obviously goes without saying. What I'm telling you right now is not financial advice. I'm not qualified to give you financial advice, but I am qualified to give you my opinion, and that's exactly what that is. It is just
expiry date would be nice to know too, because if you have a lot
of he doesn't really say sell half of my triple Q call sell. Yeah, Donnie, let Joe know, because obviously Joey Options definitely can help you a lot more with that than I can. Throw in that expiration date. I'm sure he'll have more on that for you. Joseph, I want to mention some stuff there about crypto, because you were dropping hot lines about that. And quite frankly, let's talk about the BTC tailwind, because today, or it wasn't today, I believe it was over the weekend, one of the chief regulatory officers from Coinbase was definitely out there making statements. Where the hell is my where's my thing there on crypto expectations? There we go. So his name is Faryar Shirzad, okay, and he's a chief policy officer out there at Coinbase. And here's what he's saying. He's number one. Nearly 300 pro-crypto lawmakers are expected to take a seat in this Congress coming up. Okay, 300. And I'm willing to bet you, I don't know exactly who they are, but they're probably on both sides of the aisle. Okay, so that's very good. Obviously, we know that OG, bye-bye Gary, he's gone. Gary Gensler stepping down the same day that Donald Trump is scheduled to be inaugurated. Obviously, this is bullish because Gary Gensler is a noted crypto hater. Right? No, I'm exaggerating for effect, right? We're on a 3-hour show. I don't know if he hates it or not, but he definitely didn't make things easier issuing Wells notice to anybody he could throw a Wells notice at, okay? So that was his thing. And then secondly, there's 2 bills circulating in the House right now that are kind of pro-crypto. Case in point, Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act. That already passed in the House and now needs assent from the Senate. That's obviously very pro-crypto. In addition, the Clarity for Payment Stablecoins Act also weaseling its way through Congress. That could obviously be very bullish for crypto as well. So lots of tailwinds, man. Not just Donald Trump weaseling in and, making a statement about his pro-crypto stance. And let me throw one more little fact there at you, Joseph. These PACs, political action committees in the States, they threw $245 million to support their candidates the last time around in the election. They threw money, Joseph. So there's a whole bunch of stuff right now helping the crypto trade. We're gonna have to see where it all manifests in.
I mean, I think over time, it's still fairly new. But again, mass adoption takes a little while, and we're working towards that. I mean, again, it's getting more and more popular. We heard the statistic today that only about 50 million Americans have their toes in some crypto. So again, once American banks and everybody starts holding, major investors, all these major firms start holding this on their balance sheet, then I think it's only going to be bullish for this thing moving forward. So guys, just continue to do your research. Be careful of the meme coins and things that are memeing, and altcoins and things that are into just make a quick buck. But again, then you have actual real, well, I wouldn't say real, but proper assets like Bitcoin, something that you'd want to get more involved with, than opposed to just outright pure speculation on some of these meme coins that are going on. Even though it can be fun, but just be prepared that some of them are just pump and dump schemes, and then they just pump it and then take your money and then see you later. But yeah, guys, we're holding on to this NVDA trade a little bit. Luis Martinez asked me to take a look at Archer Aviation for him. So we're going to take a look at this for you. Yeah, it's tanking today. Putting in a pretty soft day. Let's take a look at this from a daily perspective. Yeah, wow, which is totally understandable. Look at this massive move it went on. Lewis. I mean, after it broke some of these pivot highs, it doubled. It moved over 100% from this point, or close to 100%. So this pullback is a little deep, but this volume is dwindling. So expect this to kind of be an overreaction. You know the typical saying, you take the stairs up and then you just jump out the window on the other end, or take the escalator down. So just be wary of that. I don't know if you locked in any profits up here. Are you going to get a full recovery anytime soon? It may take some time. But again, the volume is supporting kind of that breakout level, so that's positive. And it does, from what I'm looking at right now, oh no, it's not quite all-time highs. So yeah, I mean, do what you will with it. Hopefully you have a really good entry point and you didn't buy the tops on it. This is a really deep pullback, kind of like how MicroStrategy did the other day. So just be wary. I think it can recover. Just be prepared to sit on your hands a little bit. And there's one thing I do want to mention as well, too, guys, is General Electric. I hopped out of this trade. It was taking too much time, and it just tied up too much capital for me. So I said, you know what? When it does decide it wants to re-breach that gap, because I did add onto this position, moving my stop significantly higher because I went heavier, and so I just had to cut it. I'm tying up too much capital, and it's taking too much time to fill this gap, especially when you have stocks like Amazon that I remember last week we were talking about it. It breached the gap and then it since filled it. So I'm like, I was sitting in GE for so long and I'm missing really strong stocks like Amazon. So that's why I kind of got out of this trade. So this Thursday, guys, I'm going to do my gap fill strategy. We'll do that if Shreve doesn't have any lessons planned. That's what we're going to look to get into is playing gap fills, guys.
All right, I said I'd get it, Joseph, into SNTI at 10, and it's exactly what I did there. We already wet our beak for almost 50 pennies. We took some out at the highest, 55. This is trying to hold on to the volume-weighted average price. There's two reasons I'm in this, $10 and VWAP. So we already wet our beak multiple times there. I'm out of over half the position here. I've got my next beak wetter set up at 69s, because what's life without whimsy? Right? And now, no, for real though, there is a level of resistance I'm gauging at 11 1/3, 11.33. There does seem to be some bottoming tail candles showing that there was possible support in and around there. Let's see if it can take out that support. There, boom, at 69s, Joseph. We'll take that one out. Big move up off that $10 level there on SNTI. It's up a light, guys, 386%. I've got a couple more outs on this monster, but I've got to manage my Apple trade now, because now we're out of the majority of the Apple trade, but now Apple's out of the money because it did come back down into VWAP. This is not what I wanted. I'm looking for a VWAP hold, so I'm moving up my stop. My stop was at the $0.25 initially. That's no longer going to be the case. I'm going to move it up to the $0.33. I don't want to give back that much on the dead one, especially since I don't trade it well. or all that well. So we're going to move it up into the third of a dollar, 239, then we'll give it to 239, then we'll give it to like 28 or something, so about a 5 penny spread there. It's going to have to hold on to the volume weighted average price, otherwise I want nothing to do with it on the day. So that's the look there for Apple. Back to SNTI. Again, we're at the majority of the position, a couple of outs left on this monster. Now I'm trying to hold on to this one to see if I can hold on with the dance that it's doing at VWAP. So what do I mean by that? Now, obviously this is a very volatile name. It's moving 30, 40 pennies at a time. It's got amazing range, depending on what you really think is amazing. $2 is what we closed out on Friday, and $17 is what we touched as the high this morning. So you guys get the idea there. So the range is kind of crazy on it. Whether or not it holds VWAP, that's going to be a different story. I just don't want to be the weak hand. I don't want to be that paper hand, as Joseph likes to do, like this, right? I want to hold on to it as best as I could. So I've moved up my stop from that 9.5 that I gave it originally. I've now gave it to 9 4/5. So it's going to have to hold that 980-ish. Otherwise, we're going to get the hell out of there on SNTI. I want to talk about ZETA though, because I didn't have an opportunity to wax poetic about that one, to use an Adara term, because we have to actually send it up to Adara. 2469 HOD on ZETA. It's up almost 16%. It's not even looking. It's not even glancing at VWAP. It doesn't even have anything to do with it. That's how strong this one is. It just took out the high of the day, 2472. It keeps going every time I'm looking at it right now. VWAP is hanging out at 239.40, but I'm hesitant to use anything related to VWAP with this name because it's just been so dang respectful with the 10 exponential moving average. But we will talk, I promise, more about ZETA when we get back from Adara at the green screen. Oh, I thought you said you... Oh, my bad, Ram. What did you say? You did say something, Ram.
I didn't hear anything, man.
Yeah, she said it in my ear.
Oh.
Lies, Ram.
I don't know if I believe her now, actually, to be honest.
I know. I think she's just messing with me. She does. I told you. She doesn't like when I call her sinister, but this is the kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of thing,
She
Joseph.
wants you to start hearing things.
Maybe I heard stuff, Ram. I don't mean to blame you. I know I didn't, but it's all good. Let's see what we're doing here in the poll, Joseph. Let's get some love for this poll over here. Okay, we almost got 1,000 votes. We're barely halfway into the half an hour into the sesh. SMCI, Joseph, taking the cake so far. Obviously, how could it not? I don't know, you don't want to talk about that, but we'll get to it. It's up 26%, my man. So definitely going to have some eyes there. The dead one, Apple, also getting some eyes there, 27% as it weasels into all-time highs. I thought Intel would get more love. Patty G's out. And we got a couple of co-CEOs on an interim basis in 18%. Only beating out your fave by a few points there, IBIT.
Yep, I thought Bitcoin would have a little bit more of some votes there, but that's okay. I guess we're kind of just in somewhat of a choppy phase, so everybody's not too interested in it. So I know D Loaf asked what I think about some of the mining companies. I think going with the mining companies, and I was thinking this over the weekend. I wonder who's going to be more profitable in the long run. Michael Saylor, someone who's just outright buying Bitcoin, or Amara, who's actually mining it, and a Riot, who's also mining it as well too, right? So I thought to myself that as well. And we all know that every 4 years, the reward for mining a block is cut in half. So right now, I think we're at about three and some change or something along those lines, or a little bit less. So what happens, the value increases, but then it takes a lot more energy to mine Bitcoin, and you're receiving a lot less, even though it will compensate. But again, I was just thinking to myself, who is doing it the right way? The miners or someone like Michael Saylor? I don't know if he's just buying it out on the outright market, but again, he can just accumulate it, and he doesn't have all these energy costs. So that's something that you need to ask yourself. Do you want to buy a miner, or do you just want to own the underlying asset? And I think in this case, owning the underlying asset is probably the better way to go. That is just my opinion. If you want to go with the miners, then by all means, just understand some of their fundamentals and how those energy, the cost of energy affects margins as well too. So keep that in mind. Do your due diligence. And then once you've built yourself a big enough case, then I think you should either make the decision to go with the miner or to go with the actual underlying asset. But for me, I would personally choose to go with the underlying asset. And Supermicro has broken high a day. It's up to 41.67 now, trading really well. But we decided to get back into some NVDA. I said my stop was around 75s. We got out, and then we just got a better price. So I figured this was just a little bit of a pullback before we started to move a little bit higher here. I didn't put too much size, so I'm going to need a little bit larger of a move unless I add at the VWAP hold here, which I think would be more ideal. I do think that NVDA can continue to move northeast. We're only up about 0.75% on the session, so nothing absolutely crazy. But yeah, I think we do continue this trend. I think for maybe, I don't know about the whole day, but I do think we go and test high days, and I'm going to hold on until we do so, Sharif.
Okay, so yeah, sounds good, Joseph. Yeah. I got stopped out of SNTI for the last remaining amount. It did breach my hold. Now, it's still above VWAP, so if this wants to change the situation, then we can definitely weasel back into this. When somebody was asking what weasel meant in the chat, it's just my informal way of saying get in and get out of position. So we'll keep tabs on that one separately. Apple is defending, guys, the volume weighted average price, but upon a further or a closer inspection of said dead one, we are putting in lower highs, okay? So even though it's holding VWAP for now, be on the lookout for the lower high situation. That means sellers are becoming more aggressive with where they're selling it. They keep selling it at lower and lower price points. We shall talk about that and see what Apple does when we get back from Adara at the big desk. She's got earnings.
Yeah, we're going to weasel over to this earnings segment here, if I may borrow Sharif's phrase there. We have Zscaler on watch reporting tonight. And if you look at this daily chart, there's a couple levels of interest here. So we have a little bit of a double bottom on this daily chart around that 156 area. This gap to the downside around to that 156 level from 200 actually came with our last earnings report there, which for them is fiscal Q4 2024. So they're going to be reporting Q1 2025 earnings, tonight. So we have this push to the downside early September. Then we reject here, going back to mid-October, that previous gap level of 200. So that could be a bit of an area now bouncing off of that 200 to keep an eye on heading into this report. Zscaler will be reporting after the bell. We're looking here for analyst estimates of 63 cents per share here for earnings per share. I'm not seeing any revenue estimates here yet, so we're going to have to wait and see on that. Yeah, so revenue, $605.68 million expected revenue, 63 cents expected for earnings per share. Then tomorrow morning, we're going to be getting some smaller names here, Scotiabank reporting, but also Core and Main reporting at 7:30 a.m. expected there tomorrow morning. Analysts are looking for 65 cents per share for earnings and revenue of $2 billion. Make sure, whatever earnings you're watching, to vote for that poll in the chat. You have 4 options until 12:30, at which point you will have 4 more options. So make sure to take a look at that poll. Cast your vote, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Because she brought up Zscaler. We gave our opinion on Zscaler, I believe, on Friday to somebody who asked us. A great company, but keep an eye out. They are quite volatile. Well, all the cybersecurity names have super high beta, so be ready for that. Ramram, I want to show this headline over here. I don't have any more information than what you just see on your screen there. But Investor Business Daily, IBD, reporting that Aritzia Networks and PanDub, Palo Alto, which I'm involved in, are looking to join the ranks of NVIDIA, Broadcom, and Supermicro by splitting. I didn't know that PanW was looking at splitting. Palo Alto Networks, only about $390, give or take, the price. So I didn't really think that they were a split candidate. Shows how much I know. But we'll obviously keep tabs on that. I don't have a date for split. I don't have anything. When we get more information on that, I will tell you. Separately, though, I did have in my calendar here that PanW is giving, it's presenting at some cybersecurity conference tomorrow. I don't know if CrowdStrike and Zscaler, some of the other competitors, are going to be there as well, or was just an invitation only for PanDub. But if you are focusing on these cybersecurity names, it behooves you to know about that. So conference tomorrow, PanDub, couple of headlines, looking to split with Aritzia Networks. reports Investor Business Daily, and there is also a cybersecurity conference tomorrow. So, yeah, keep your eye out on that. Joseph, are we at all-time highs on the NQ over here?
Dude,
let's have a look over here. We're really close, aren't we?
Really close. Really close.
Here it is. So this is what Joseph and I are looking at. Yeah, we're not there quite yet.
Really
so
close.
to go all-time highs on this contract wasn't trading in any great volume at the time, right? You can always see when the contract started trading by keeping an eye on the volume, but technically the December contract did have a high on that July 11th date, Joseph, of 21,237. By comparison, we're at 21,231 today. So we are right up there, baby. I think we actually made a higher day over here. 11/11. Sorry, my mistake. 11/11 after the election, 21,340. So we're still about 100 points or away from that level. So just keep your eye out on that. The NQ up big on the day. Up here, what are we at today right now, Joseph? We're at about 1.1%. The Dow and the Russell down, but the ES flat. The NQ is the one that's going today. So it looks like the hyperscalers making this market a bit hyper.
Yeah, there you go. The hyper.
That.
Yeah, we heard the hyper. I mean, speaking of hyper, we need NVDA to start hypering up a little bit here. It doesn't even make sense. But I mean, hey, I think if this thing continues to move higher, then it's only a matter of time until the NAS makes all-time highs. It is lagging the SPY just a little bit. So again, once I mentioned this time and time again, we need these big boys to participate. We do talk about the market broadening out, but nonetheless, we still need these super mega caps to continue to move higher. And I think if NVDA does go and attempt for the high of day, then you'll see the Qs at all-time highs. But I just wanted to mention this, guys. Go check out the video online. It was a good one I watched. Did you watch this one, Sharif? The week ahead. Did you see that one? Best ideas for the week ahead?
I didn't get to watch it just yeah. Thanks for putting me on the spot there, bro. I really appreciate it.
You could have just said no. It's like fine. No, I didn't see it yet.
No, it was a busy weekend, man.
No, it's a good one, guys.
Brendo said it did really well, though.
Yeah, no, it's doing really well. So go check out that video. Pro traders share best ideas for the week ahead, and so I think you'll like those picks going on. Who did? I had NVDA and Sean had like PLTR or something along those lines. But yeah, guys, we like NVDA and we like some of these semis. I don't know what AMD is really up to. I'm not really paying attention to Advanced Money Destroyer right now because it's just a pain. But again, guys, I'm liking the way IBIT's setting up on the 5-minute. So I'm gonna get a little bit of a beak wetter here on IBIT. I have a definitive out on this thing. So if we break that pivot low, then I'm gonna get out of the position as well too, because I already am in the money on NVDA. We took a stop loss on that, and then we just got back in, took a little bit off there, only about 10%, and then we're gonna look to continue to move higher. But let's see if this hammer on the 5-minute on IBIT holds, because that is what I'm building this intraday thesis off of. So again, just a basic, we had a nice strong primary trend in the pre-market and leading in after the open. We've pulled back, and now we hovered kind of a little bit around VWAP, and then I noticed on multiple charts that we have this 5-minute hammer. So I have a definitive out at 54.71, and we're gonna look to continue and then go possibly test high a day there, brother.
Joseph, trade the pool stock trading competition has officially begun.
Whoa.
Over 2,500 traders are competing to prove they have what it takes to rule the pool. Let's check out the leaderboard and see who's leading the chart on day one. Well, we got first place here with Alan Dump. If he stays in this place, he will win an valuation account of $160,000 in buying power to trade with. Second place, we got Anthony Herbert out of the United States. How much is he up? 40,250 with a 33% bump, with his best trade being $41,500. That's a good look. He can win an evaluation account of up to $80,000 in buying power. And third place here, we got Sinex the Cool. He's from Egypt. Yes, $38,590. He's up at the moment, up 100%. And it looks like he had one trade, Joseph, because his P&L is 38,590, and that's his best trade. So he's up big. He can definitely do very well here. He can win an evaluation account of up to $20,000 in buying power. It's only the beginning, though, guys. So stay tuned. By the end of the week, you'll know who will win the big prize. Shout out to the great folks there at Trade the Pool. I find that very exciting to be in this kind of competition. I also find this very exciting, Joseph. Yes, SNTI, we got right back in. I told you if this one held VWAP, I would get right back in. That's exactly what I did. Where am I long? 32.
SNTI.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like SMCI.
I know. You're still buzzing off that from earlier, eh?
I might lose a little bit of sleep on that one.
Here we go. We're going to take out another one here, Joseph, as it takes out 11 and bang. Let's see if this one wants to take out the 10 and the 20 exponential. Good look so far right now. Oh, we took out everything. Oh,
no. Did you do that on
I'll
purpose?
just do it on my own now.
Did you
Just
do it
that
on
I'm not
purpose?
you trolling
Did you
me.
do it on purpose? Or
No,
was
I
it
took out,
did
I
that
had
today.
a couple of more outs there, but now it's coming down. So it doesn't look like such a bad trade after all.
Yeah, so
Okay,
there you
I can go with that. I can go
We'll
with
take
that.
it. We'll take
No,
it.
but seriously, so we'll look to do a little bit better over here. SN Dang TI up. But there's a new entrant into the world of small cap gapper traders, or I used to call them small cap crappers, because they're around for a good time, not a long time, Joseph. So we can disrespect them over here. It's like making fun of your family, right? It's like I can say it, you can't say it. So QNRX, let's have a look at this one. That's the one that I'm talking about right now. Moving up nicely over here, but it's down halted, Ram, even though it was moving up quite aggressively off that 60 penny, Ram. That 60 penny hold up. We weaseled our way all the way up to $1.38, though we are now halted to the downside below VWAP, mind you, at 95 pennies. So I don't want to be involved in this one until it does a couple of things. One, it's got to take out that dollar. Number two, it's got to get above that volume weighted average price. Otherwise, I want nothing to do with this one. It is moving quite aggressively here with a $4.8 million market cap. It's done big boy shares on the day, though. Let's call a spade a spade. 24.1 million shares traded so far, and we just got going. Like, look when the majority of the shares started coming in at 10 after 11. So it's not like we were doing shareage in the pre-market or at the bell. No, this one just started coming in. So we disrespected it a little bit right now by saying, we're not going to trade until it gets above $1 in VWAP. But I like the ones that show up midday, the ones that don't have the best move behind them in the pre-market or in the opening range. So definitely going to keep an eye out on QNRX. It's just about which one I take off. CRNC looking like it's really dipping over here. So we're going to switch that one. QNRX. We switched that one for CRNC. Joseph, what do you have over there?
Yeah, we're just looking into these positions, but I'm in the chat talking to Elon there because I know he's an AMD bull and he's excited about this thing breaking up. So I had to go and take a look. It's now trading around 142 bucks. I mean, I was looking at some other technicals, some oscillators on it as well too. And it seemed to be that it found fair value. That's why it was chopping around those lows for a while without really doing anything. So now it seems to be that we're holding those levels and we're looking to slightly recover. Am I going to play a gap fill on this thing? Potentially. I just mentioned my GE trade from before. That didn't work out. And that's totally fine because I still have high conviction within those setups. And I mentioned that the Amazon one did. So that's okay. We missed out on that one. But there's always going to be plenty of opportunities because these good stocks are always gapping up and gapping down. So we'll be prepared to take advantage of this one here on AMD. But Elon, congratulations to you. I know you've probably been trading this one for sure today. So yeah, it's absolutely moving significantly stronger than NVDA at this point. So we're continuing. We broke this high day here where we had definitive resistance around 141.25s. And then we just stuck to the primary trend, a nice healthy pullback here. You have the indecision at VWAP, and then it decides to take that second leg higher. So yeah, really good luck on this semiconductor stock. Keep my eyes off it for a little while, but again, if any good positive news comes around, I think this thing can start rolling eventually too, especially with the overall market tempting and the Qs tempting to potentially push onto all-time highs. So guys, we're still holding on to IBIT and some NVDA. Let's see if this intraday thesis plans out from this doji. I do like this pullback. We're kind of consolidating around these 90s areas that a little longer than I would like, Sharif, but all that indicates to me is that we can make a potential bigger move. And I know that once we break that 100K level, then again, we're heading into blue skies and price discovery. So I do think that we can see the teens relatively quick once those are broken. So we'll keep an eye out on those as well too. But as of right now, we're just going to hold on to these two positions. We have our definitive out, guys, where IBIT is slowly creeping in. We also have a really big support level around 54.71. So if that breaks, I will assume to see some more downside on that one. And we got NVDA pulling back in towards VWAP as well too. We have a really good entry on NVDA, so this will give us the ability to hold onto this a little bit longer, which I like. So if we do breach VWAP and then decide to move a little bit higher, we have some room for that one, my guy.
Yes, sir. Okay, I just wet my beak on some more profits there at Apple at 240, guys. It's been obviously putting in a bit of a range. 240 is a bit of a local top right now. Second time it's rejected at that level. But I told an individual by the name of Bobby Antone, whatever it is. Hope I didn't butcher your name. He's asking me about KULR, color technology. So here's the details on the following name. Company profile. We don't even have what they do. Come on, you can do better than that. KULR. Let's see if I can find out over here what they do. I cannot. That is fine. So we'll talk about their data points. So the float, 157 million shares, a short float on this, about 5%. KULR. Let's look at the daily. Okay, so it's obviously a tough looking daily, but the recent price action keeps you, it keeps you, I don't know, motivated if you're in it. I don't know. The point is, it's a bad looking chart when you look at it from a wider time frame, but the recent price action really taking out major levels over here. Let's flip to the weekly, see where we are. Okay, it doesn't want to show me the weekly for whatever reason. That's fine. So we'll look at the daily. Okay, so the daily over here really started getting going after the election. So this is obviously an election pump. It had the best day it had in a long time, November 6th, and it's been doing quite well since that time. So let's look at the intraday price action right now. How would we work into this? Okay, so we're well below the pre-market highs. If you ever watched me trade these small cap gappers, I just won't take them as a breakout trade below the pre-market high. Currently, the pre-market high on KULR sits at $1.97 or $1.96, I believe. 196 exactly. We're trading at 147. And since the bell rang at 9:30, we haven't broken that pre-market high. So first and foremost, we got to get above that 196 level for me to get interested intraday. Secondly, it's also below the volume weighted average price, which is at about $1.59, $1.60. So that ain't going to work. Thirdly, it's putting a downward channel. You can connect the highs and the lows for a bit of a downward channel. That's not what I want. And I'm not going to trade it for that. I'm not trading it for a range. So downward channel right now. Now, do any of these levels jive with any previous areas of support? And the answer to that is yes. Look at this area over here that we danced with in the afternoon on Friday. It takes us about to $1.40. Lo and behold, the low of the day today, 139. So we are kind of flipping from that area of resistance, now holding it as support. But look how close we are to that. So the low of the day is 139, and we're trading at $1.46. And in addition to that, it's using that 50 penny level, that $1.50, as a local area of resistance. Initially, it used it as support, Joe. It was bouncing off it a few times. $1.50 was support, and then it flipped to resistance once we gave up the ghost over here at 11.10 and 11.15. So I ain't going to trade this until it does the two things that I talked about. Pre-market high break over 196, 160 break above the volume weighted average price. I want nothing to do with it unless it does that. But from a different perspective, if you're looking for a trade, an intraday trade, a swing trade or an investment, this is a big boy breakout level over here. It is obviously election connected because the best day it had for a while was November 6th. The day after the election. So again, I'm sorry I can't even find out what this company does. I'll have to look somewhere else, but my platform doesn't have any details on what they do, so I do apologize. But the high of the day today still sub $2, Joseph.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there, Sharif. Yeah, guys, someone in the chat had mentioned, 2NY, my guy 2NY asked talk about some super micro, and you have to essentially, right? So guys, I know you mentioned 100. We're a little bit ways from that now, my friend. But one thing that I'm going to point out, and I'm not even going to say anything as I mark them, because you already know what I'm going to say about this. So this is why you don't hold on to positions for too long, especially when they're not working, because then you miss out on opportunities like the one I just presented to you guys, and Amazon as well too, which is totally fine. There's going to be plenty more, but those are just a prime example. So that's why I decided, like, hey, this is chewing up too much capital for too long. I don't want to hold on to this for too long because there is other opportunities that will arise and are arising. So just keep that in mind, guys. 2NY, I think the next key level here is 5111s. I mean, we got some positive catalysts under this thing's name now. So, I mean, that's really good that they didn't commit any fraud or anything, any negligence or anything along those lines. So just keep that in mind. I think that for the foreseeable future, that this thing can continue to move higher. I know Jim Cramer, I don't know, how do you feel about Jim Cramer? I know Jim Cramer, he likes it.
I think he means well. I don't know. I think, you know,
yeah, obviously
the street doesn't like him. People don't like him.
No.
Yeah, he's kind of like mainstream media.
Yeah,
you know, mainstream media is not getting any love right now.
Would you ever get into his travel trust or whatever?
I'd go for inverse Kramer ETF. Isn't it up big on the year?
Is there an inverse Kramer ETF?
Yes,
wow,
bro. And Elon called it out too.
Did he?
And there's a Nancy ETF. Guys, Dara was joking about this in the chat before.
The Nancy.
Yeah,
ETF.
so there's a lot of subversive ETFs, and there's a Ted Cruz one, guys. For anybody you know, it's not just Dems that get trolled. It's KRUZ for Ted Cruz, the Texas senator, obviously. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's jokes.
That is absolutely hilarious. I don't know who would be buying those. I mean, Kramer named his cat Envy or something along those lines.
Joseph, can I just mention this really quick?
Yeah, for sure.
So I just sent this to Neil, guys. We were talking about the Palo Alto Pan W stock split upcoming. So it's Aritzia. Aritzia is going to split 4-for-1 on December 4th. So in a couple of days. Pan Dub will split 2-for-1 December 16th, Neil. Shares in Aritzia, okay, but that doesn't really matter. So December 4th, Arista stock. I keep thinking it's the store.
Yeah, bro, you shop there
Sorry, bro. No, man, it's at Yorkville, right?
Yeah.
Arista stock, 4-for-1 split, Ram, December 4th, yeah. And then Palo Alto Network, 2-for-1 on December 16th. We'll talk more about that when we do get back, though. From Adara, and then Neil's lesson of the day.
Now you got double the amount of shares of Pandov.
Can't complain about that, baby.
Let's go.
Take it over.
We're going to take a look here at the market. We have the Qs sharply outperforming the SPY. Q is basically at high of the day here for the NASDAQ, up 1.2%. Well, the SPY also at high of day, but up only 0.2% by comparison. So quite the difference here in terms of the strength of these names today. These are the 15-minute charts for both. Lots happening here in this market, lots of catalysts to talk about. Of course, there are some new chip restrictions here in the U.S. They're apparently their third crackdown here with regards to the China chip restrictions, so that's certainly going to be on watch. Then, of course, the big stories of the day were Intel and SMCI. Both companies have been embattled recently, and both companies had some nice pre-market headlines before 9 a.m. this morning. We had Intel announcing that CEO Pat Gelsinger has retired, although Bloomberg reports suggest he was actually forced out here effective December 1st. Then SMCI saying that their internal report found no wrongdoing, despite comments there from Ernst & Young, their former auditor, suggesting otherwise. So lots of stories to talk about. Lots of Mag 7 strength, too. We have Tesla up about 3% right now. Definitely finding some resistance with slightly lower highs, but holding nice support around that 352 level. Tesla getting a positive analyst note from Stifel, raising its price target from 287 to 411. And then also here we had Roth MKM going from an $85 price target to a $380 price target. So great look for Tesla. Meta here also looking great, up almost 3.5%. No catalyst that I could find on this one, but META could be knocking on that door of that $600 level. Lots to look at. Make sure that you go in that chat and vote for your ticker of choice. You have until 12:30 p.m. to do so, at which point the poll will switch, and then you'll have 4 new stocks to vote from. But in the meantime, we're going to see how things are doing with Neil over at his lesson of the day. Take it away, Neil.
Thank you very much, Adara. Your lesson of the day here is going to be all about massive pre-market action. And like we every single day we come on at 8:30. And, you know, at that time, you've gone over your charts, you've looked at all the overnight catalysts, you've gone over your gap lists, and you might have the X, Y, Z is what I'm going to trade, and this is my plan of action. Every now and then, there are just stories that are big enough where suddenly you're going to be involved in that stock because it's going to be the volume leader of the day, or it's going to be the bigger opportunity of the day. Maybe it had earnings and you could foresee it, but in the case of Intel and SMCI, that's not the case. Like, nobody knew this morning, unless, I guess, outside of insiders, that Pat Gelsinger was going to be possibly forced out and announcing his retirement, which is already effective. Nobody knew that SMCI necessarily was going to announce, or that the auditor was going to announce that there was no wrongdoing and CFO is out and SMCI was going to skyrocket. But once it has happened, you got to have a bit of a plan of action. Now, obviously, both of those moves, when the news hit, for SMCI is at 9 o'clock, and we'll start with them, even though the news hit second, and we'll go to Intel after, the volume spike was tremendous. On a 3-minute chart, the initial move was $5. In the next 10 minutes, it went another $4 higher. So you've already moved 20%, over 20% on SMCI when you pull up the chart, and that's just in the first few minutes. So you've got to have some kind of a plan of action, knowing that you want to be involved in it. And I just want to point out that you've got to be willing either to have wider stops than normal because it's changed, or just an approach of taking a few swings at it. Because when we come to the chart here for a quick little second, Remain, SMCI, if you're chasing this move to the upside, it's not unreasonable that some people would have been long here and here. Once it starts pulling back, if you like the long, there are a few shots that I'm going to want to take. Now, obviously, the first place that it did dip was holding on to this 37 level. It breaks VWAP, and you can see it hold on at 36.5, 37. But this is right at the open. I'm waiting for it to open up, and the first thing it did is show a buyer at 37 after the open at 9:30. Once that is gone, I always tell people, when in doubt, zoom out. And when you zoom out, it's not that all gaps fill. I don't want anyone to think that. But if you look at where, right at the open, the first place that it dipped that we tried the long and lost was right in here off this prior high, going back in to the 27th and last Wednesday. Then if you look at where it bounced the second time, it was off of Friday's open price, or 8 o'clock high, where it was resistance the day before. So you had two resistance spots, both at prior highs, where it was filling the gap back in. It tried to hold the first, did not, and then it held the second. Now, if you are Johnny on the spot, let's just say, where you're looking at this level saying, if it's going to fill in this entirety of the gap, you're still getting it on a monster breakout. Once it's done this move back into 35, you can look to see where I got in, but if you're eyeballing that level, there's an opportunity to get this underneath the 36 level. There's your wick, and you can see the volume in here. Like, there's your opening bar. Biggest volume bar is on that bounce into that prior high 35. You can have this one back to 36. And the reason I make the lesson of the day is, if I'd had this chart zoomed out at the moment that I'm looking for that bounce, I'm not waiting for this confirmation candle. The second it does this wick and holds higher, I'm getting it on this candle here. And that's where when in doubt, zoom out comes in. Because you're talking about getting it 50 pennies better on a $36 stock. So suddenly, on a name that can move from here all the way to 40, let's just say, you're talking about a 10% move, $3. If you can get it 50 cents better with a tighter stop, you can risk 50 cents or $1 to get a $4 move. Which one are you going to be able to have more shares on? And which one are you going to be more confident about? And that just comes from zooming out, understanding the volume, the exuberant volume came in the pre-market. You needed to reestablish a level because the pre-market's not going to give you the technical levels 10 times out of 10. It then gave you a clear break at the $40 level, which is fantastic. But it's all about zooming out. And then I'll give you the other one here on Intel, which is a bit of a different story. Because as you'll see, when I zoomed out on the 3-minute chart, news comes out on Intel, you were able to get it at 2460, or why 2460, why 2480, why 2460, which we're still in. Again, this, and there's a reason why I went over to SMCI first, to show you the one that we didn't do all that well on. But Intel was a totally different story, because I did zoom out initially on Intel. And what I found was you've got your 25.6 up top. Obviously, that's resistance you want to scalp out in front of. and we talked about that live on the show. But then looking at the range that day where it put in the resistance, and what you get is a clear support around 24. This wick in here is about 24.75, holding. That's your target area, and it broke away from 24.5. So if I were going to draw this up to you, you've got this close, you've got this low, and then you've got right about in here. So this is the target area where I'm looking for the dip buy. Either it's holding above the target area, but if it doesn't hold, then I want longs that are holding the bottom end in here or longs above in here, which is what we did well on Intel. So obviously I did better on Intel than I did SMCI because Intel, I immediately zoomed out, found an area where I thought liquidity should come back in on the way back, and were able to get good prices. And this is the idea when you're looking at something go parabolic. Intel went from 24 to 25.50. Now, if you got it on the way up when the news hit, great. If you got a new source in the area, you get some of this on the breakout. But as it pulls back in, you need somewhere where you're not buying all the way up at 25.20, holding it 70 pennies against you and just hoping that it gets back up to the top. You always want to make sure that you have a reason to get in an area where you know you're wrong, but sometimes even in an area where your thesis is still right again. So this is an example of zoom out quickly once it's made that first move to the top, see where it makes sense to be buying the dip. Like if it can't hold on to this 24.5, I don't want any part of that. And then you can reap the rewards of the secondary move. And sometimes in Intel, it basically does the same move that it did earlier. Sometimes the secondary move ends up being even better. On SMCI, had I zoomed out a little bit quicker on SMCI or been a little bit more vigilant with it, I think I would have had a better long down in here off the 35, 36 hold. Obviously, taking a 40 break is just some fresh highs that got made. But it comes down to not just your preparation during the day. It's also your ability, as crazy moves are happening, take a breath, still zoom out, go through your entire process, top down, look at your daily chart, look at your 15-minute chart, find the proper levels if that's your game plan, and don't just get caught up in the crazy volume that you're seeing in the pre-market or at the open, because oftentimes that'll get you rinsed out or might give you still a winning trade, but a suboptimal trade. And zooming out gives you the better entry, the more clean hold, sometimes that bigger opportunity. So no matter how crazy things are getting with these pre-market news drops, you still want to put in the work and find the levels like you always would. The market gives you so much time throughout the day that you don't necessarily have to rush things. There's one example with Intel where we found it and got a better long, and one with SMCI where we still caught the long, but it would have been even better had we zoomed out and taken our time. So there's your lesson of the day. You can always trade something out of the blue on news. Just make sure you stick to your process.
Thank you very much, Neil. Appreciate that. Obviously informative and eloquent, and then just all around awesome.
Yeah,
as always. More to add than that, man.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, clearly. Well, he is the, I'm not allowed to say it, so. He's the line dropper for a reason. Joseph, some stuff was happening during the break there. How close are we to all-time highs on the Qs?
I think we're there now, brother.
Are we actually?
I think we are there now.
All right, let's have a look.
Let's take a look there. 515.98, so we'll call it 516 on the Qs. So it looks like we are on all-time highs.
All-time highs prior to this, Joseph, 515.58, like you just said. 516.04. Big Spile, where are you at?
Big Spy, yeah, Big Spy.
Well, I have no problem him shorting everything in sight. I got no problem about that. I just wondering why he's always looking short when the market seems to always make higher highs, higher lows. Shout out to the Spiled one, not in today.
Sharif, sorry to interrupt you there, but just to add on to your lesson today,
yes, sir.
What were we learning about trend lines in our lesson? Let's take a look at the Qs. Yeah, primary trend. There we go. So if we could pull up my chart. Do you want to be a perma bear? Looking at this chart, I don't know. You tell me. Wait for those big catalysts to step in. Otherwise, I think we are going to be slightly bullish for the foreseeable future, and this is not something I would want to be shorting. That is for sure.
No, certainly not. Yeah, a big move up right now on the SPY. All right, I did get out of the last little bit that I had there on Apple. We were long mid-50s. Ram took it out at 15s, 240 15s. So done with that trade. Look, it defended VWAP quite well, but it looked like more like it was ranging rather than trending. And this is kind of what I mean by Apple ranging. Like, great full 4-candle hold up on the 5-minute at the volume weighted average price, not breaching that level. So I should definitely cancel my stop order that I had on this. Is it canceled automatically? Yes, it is. So good luck there. Now look, if it comes back down to 239.50 again, which, you know, it's only about 30 pennies away from that, we're going to have to reassess the situation. Look, maybe to trade it as a range with VWAP being the bottom. I don't want to recycle that opportunity too many times, because usually when you do that, the bottom gives way. Sometimes. We'll see exactly what the situation is on Apple, but good look nonetheless. I was telling Joseph off camera while Neil was doing his lesson of the day, Meta's up a light $20 on the day. Closed out just a little bit above 574, that $503.25 area. Now we're knocking on the door of $600 yet again. Not a level that we haven't been at on Meta. This is all recycled stuff over here, but good to see that it's kind of moving back into that key area of resistance. 600 obviously is the level. We've been above 600, well, we haven't been able to stay above 600. So we'll have to see if that changes in the coming weeks. A respectable 3 1/3 today for the almost $600 name. Moving up quite aggressively and just a little bit off the highs, guys. Still hanging out near those highs, though. Tesla as well did a nice little V-shaped retracement, kind of, you know, holding that same level of in the pre-market that we were looking at. So this level over here at 351, 351.5 kind of acted as both a resistance level and a support level in the pre-market. Again, you know, you don't want to put too much stock into these pre-market levels because they're on low volume, but hey, man, you can't help but notice that. This 351.5 was a resistance level from 4 a.m. all the way until about 7:15 when the volume started coming in. And then we took 351.5. And then funny enough, we started using 351.5 as support, ranging kind of between 353 and 351.5. Lo and behold, when we sell off there after touching 358.75, we come right into that 351 area with a bottoming tail candle, and then we haven't looked back since. So we've taken VWAP, we've taken 355. The only thing is still technically lower highs. Area crest, and if this area rejects at or the price rejects at this area over here, that'll be another area crest. All three will be a lower high. So keep your eye out on Tesla. Obviously got good news with that full self-driving version 13, I believe, lucky number 13. I just want to double check that I'm actually accurate on that. It is full FSD version 13. It dropped on Saturday. If you have a Tesla, I don't know if you've got the prompt to update or not. If you do, let me know. You obviously have to be a sub of FSD in order to get that notification. So Tesla up on the day, obviously, as we'll, you know, see how that whole relationship with Donald Trump unfolds. NVIDIA separately, Joseph, over here curling as well off the area lows there that it put in the earlier trading day. Did hold that 138.25 where we closed out on Friday. So holding Friday's support level, we're trying to work our way back possibly into 140. We're at 139.60-ish above the volume weighted average price. So good look for NVIDIA. But when you look at the chart on the NQ, it feels, yeah, I'm going to say it, distinctly different than some of these other names today. Like, quite frankly, the one that looks the most like the NQ is Meta. There's a lot of overlap between the Meta chart and the NQ December contract chart. So, you know, I don't want to say Meta's moving the market. That's not what I mean to say, but there is a great deal of overlap right now. You've got the NQ at the highs, 21,254, and there's no Mag 7 name that's at the highs. None. Meta is close. Google is close as well. That's it. So kind of interesting. I'm not sure what's moving. It's clearly not the Mag 7. Something else is moving the NQ today. Because I don't know. I just don't think that.
Z-scaler.
Yeah, right. Z-scaler. All right, let's put some respect on that one's name. That one reports, guys, after the bell. So don't forget that. These cybersecurity names are super high beta. So if you're going to trade them, if you're going to invest in them, if you're going to swing them, be prepared. Get your internal composition ready for volatility because you will get volatility on those names. I hate waking up every day and seeing Pandub like $20 lower. Why is it $20 lower? What happened?
The gap down
Nothing.
like crazy.
Right? It just gaps down like crazy. That's the way it is, Joseph.
Yeah.
I want to mention one quick thing over here.
Yeah, for
Shout out to Thomas, the quantum computing. Because let's call a spade a spade. One area that could really disrupt these cybersecurity names. I was going to say a quantum leap in quantum computing, but that's not what I want to do right there. No, but a major breakthrough in quantum computing could render all these cybersecurity companies useless because they're saying encryption at the quantum level is going to be like unbreakable, unbreachable. So all these guys could find themselves without a moat. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We're just speculating.
Yeah, only time will tell. And there's one thing-
SMCI is going.
Yeah, SMCI is going. It's moving really well today, guys. 43.15. Oh, man.
Unreal.
That's a tough pill to swallow, for sure. There's definitely a lot of salt in the wound on that one there. But, guys, I mentioned IBIT, and I said where I was going to get out on this one. And if we did break that level, I figured that there was going to be some more downside, and that seems to be the case. So we're out of IBIT. They're at 54.71s. And sure enough, it's breaking down here. We've kind of just been chopping in this range for the past week or so. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. I would rather this thing just sell off, grab whatever liquidity it needs to, and then continue to move higher. But we're just sitting in this NVDA as well, too. So we're going to dig a little bit deeper and see what's really driving the market higher, because the tech sector, consumer, discretionary, and communications. So yeah, so I guess it's just the combination of those kind of tech-heavy stocks that are driving the Qs a little bit higher. But I just wanted to mention a little bit on Tesla too, because Sharif, I know you were talking about him and Donald and him working alongside Donald essentially now. And I was just thinking this over the weekend as well too. How could you not be extremely bullish on this company? Right? Like, he's going to get done what he wants to get done. He's going to get done when he needs to get done. So that's only going to be beneficial for Tesla. So I'm glad that I have a little bit of cash on the side, because I was looking to allocate that to a semi-stock like NVDA or SMH or something along those lines. But Sharif, I'm thinking I might just pick up more Tesla, because I think for the foreseeable future, this thing can absolutely skyrocket. Like, we're not even relatively close to the all-time highs on this thing. So we'll pull it up on the chart. So I think that's the play that I'm going to go with. Is it more gutsy? Of course it is. But again, why? Everything can't be I would like it to be super easy, but I mean, we have some extremely key levels here around 362, which I really like. But then we're just kind of creeping around. Let's see how far we are off of these all-time highs here, Sharif.
Sir.
Let's see, we're 14% off the all-time highs. For the next 4 years, Elon's going to get done what he needs to get done in order for him to get all these cabs on the road and driving everywhere possible that he can possibly put them. So I think that's extremely bullish for this stock. So I think I'm going to deviate from my plan, and I think I'm going to add a little more Tesla here, my guy.
That's all you, baby. I can't deal with any more volatility on Tesla, so I've got exactly how much I need.
But with that comes the gains, though.
I know,
right?
brother. I know, but the mental composition too, or the mental.
Just set
Yeah,
and
look,
forget.
I
totally.
I love Elon Musk, man. I love Tesla. It's just it's dealing with it day in, day out.
Improving margins.
They are, bro.
So,
They are. I got no disrespect for that company. I do have one quick beef that I want to air out, Joseph, and if you don't mind indulging me for a second over here. So you guys know I scheduled the Cybertruck.
Oh no,
I scheduled the Cybertruck test drive. Randy and I were supposed to go on the 6th, Katina, man, which is a Friday. Lo and behold, Joseph, I get this unsolicited text message from your friends over at Tesla, and here is what it says. Okay? It's not, Katina, man, because I didn't ask for them to message me. I wanted nothing to do with this cancellation. Hold on, here it is. Where are you guys at, bro? Oh, here it is. Good morning. we wanted to let you know that we are unable to fulfill your Cybertruck demo drives as the vehicle will not be available for demo drives on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at this time. As such, the original appointment has been canceled. We do apologize for the inconvenience. So I texted back. I'm like, so no effort on your part to assist with your rescheduling, just a, hey, it's canceled message, and that's it. I don't get a response back, despite the fact that you've gotten responses back when I had the Model Y. So I got left on red, Joseph.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Is that how it is, Elon? All of a sudden, you know, your things are going your way now. You're forgetting about everybody. Okay, Elon. No, we're kidding, of course. So we're gonna look to reschedule the Cybertruck test drive and have that whole thing done. We're gonna have to do it on a day that doesn't fall into the weekend or close to the weekend over there, because apparently that's not good for them. So, excuse me. It's funny though. Dude, when the Model Y, they weren't selling any Model Y. They're still not selling too many like they were. And so when I scheduled the Model Y, I kept getting love letters from the salesman. Oh, we're so excited to see you.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, now I get my Cybertruck canceled. So that's kind of how that situation went.
So did you reschedule or no?
No, I had to check with Randy to find out what time he was good. So we're gonna do that together.
You were probably looking real forward to driving the Cyber. Right?
Dude, man. I mean, come on. Like, what else do I got to do around here to get into the Cybertruck? There's a running gag on the desk that I can't get in because they wouldn't let anybody in originally when they had them in the booth, right? So that's a look there. I'm involved in MDAI over here, small cap gapper up 25%. Reason I'm in, it dipped into VWAP, holding up. Already wet my beak there on some profits at 45s. Looking for this one to curl back up. I've already set up some orders there, as well as exactly where I'm going to get out. What I did love about this was two things: a VWAP hold on the closing print and the dip into a key area of technical support, that 2.25. We whiffled and waffled at that 2.25 level on MDAI for a hot minute before the volume really came in. We took it out, no problemo. However, when we did retrace, we did hold up that 2.25, so that had me interested. We'll see if we can wet our beak on some more profits. I'm sitting at 48 for the next little out there. We'll see what comes of that. Saad Mahmood, SMCI has made my month now. LOL, should just shut off the monitor until New Year's. Shout out to you, my man. Saad is printing up multiple storms on that side of the monitor. Couldn't be happier for you, Saad. I know everybody's trading SMCI. It's about to take out $44. High of the day is exactly $44 on the dot, Joseph. It's up 34.34%. It's trading like a dang small cap gapper right now. With how much volume do we?
The volume is up to 162 million. Yeah. I was looking at that.
That's big boy volume, Joseph. Put some respect on that name. Ram reads as follows: I've rescheduled my Rivian 4 times. Now I just feel bad for their team. Well, Ram, you're the one doing the canceling. At least you're not getting canceled on. Fair?
Ghost.
Fair, Ram? They keep trying to reschedule on you, or you're rescheduling on them? You canceled. And then they're trying to reschedule with you. Yeah, I mean, that's what usually good salespeople do. And then you ghost them.
Is that your method? Is that what you do, Ram? Is that you ghost? Are you a ghost?
I told you, she's a sinister being.
Oh, my God.
Shout out to M. Mason, guys, right there. $5 super chat. My man's dropping the money in the cash. Thanks, guys. You have completely changed my way of trading. I lost a ton of money when I started holding GME and AMC, Finally profitable, thanks. No, we couldn't be happier for you, my man. Clearly, that's what we're here for. We're here for you guys. Obviously, we'd be trading on our own. We're here for ourselves. So shout out to M. Mason, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend, for that. Dear Oil, my wife keeps rescheduling my divorce.
Jeez.
Maybe, I don't know. I have no comment about that. I'm going to remain without comment on that one. You put the idea. What's going on over there, Katina? The Katina man's coming in. He's got stuff to say. So here he comes. Get ready. Fire dropper. Bring him in, Raymer.
Yeah, so does my wife. Yeah, I'm trying to delay that as much as possible. I don't even know what I would do without her. So I just want to say a shout out to everybody who has. There was a joke in the chat the other day. I forget what it was. It was something like, I traded in my Tesla. I traded in my wife's Tesla or something like that, and it was like it's about the warranty on the Tesla rather than the wife. But I can't remember what it is now. But someone put that in the chat the other day. I'm going to join the chat right here. But anyways, yeah, good trading so far here today. Apple still above or near that 240. We definitely are liking that one. But all right, let's go back to the other
Katina,
side
man,
of
quickly
things.
before you take off, you know I trimmed some of my Apple. You're still holding the whole position there, eh? You didn't take anything out of that one.
I'm forever long everything now.
Forever
I've
long
decided. Yeah.
My guy. That's
No, but he's specifically.
No, I mean,
told me
look,
that on a number of
I took out.
occasions. Yeah.
The thing is this: it's like I took out some Ripple, long whatever. Took it out $1.50. Now it's $2.50. Took out some Stellar Lumen, same thing. Took out some Bitcoin, same thing. Took out Palantir, same thing. Did not take out SMR, but that's blasting away. Thing is, at some point you got to take some profits. I just don't think it's now. I just heard what Joe was saying there about Tesla and Trump and Elon Musk. I mean, yeah. I think this is what's going to be happening. I think you got to stay long some of these stronger names. And look at the NASDAQ up 1.14% today. We're still climbing. So I think unless you need cash, I would say stay there. So that's my idea. Stay in the market. But I've spoken too much.
Sure.
Thank you very much for that, Katina, man. We do though now have Adara at the green screen. What do you got for us, Adara?
Some small cap names to talk about. Just down about 0.1% right now, so almost flat here in the IWM. And last time we looked at IWM, going back to around 1020, we did talk about this bounce at 240. So IWM still bouncing at 240, but as of right now, actually looks like it's rejecting that previous support on the 15-minute chart around that 241.65. So let's see if we're able to break above this level. It's worth noting we have had some higher highs and higher lows for that Russell 2000. Now let's talk about some small cap runners. This one started running recently. No, this is not the ERAS tour. This is ERAS. The ticker for this one is ERAS. Eraska is the name of this company. Could not find any catalyst for this. It's got a market cap of around $870 million, so not a super small market cap by any means. But the short float is about 19.7%. Then we have here NVCR Novacure. Talk about a bottoming or a rounded bottom here. This one up almost 50% here, up about 45% right now. Announcing here positive data from its pancreatic cancer treatment and getting an upgrade to outperform at a $30 price target from Evercore ISI. It's worth noting this market cap is not particularly small either. It's about $3.1 billion for NVCR. Last but not least, KULR. This is one I wanted to talk about because it's been in a lot of people's minds. Last week, it announced this U.S. Navy contract, though the terms were not super specified. Its CEO also went on Twitter teasing out some more updates. However, as of today, there's no new catalyst for KULR. About a 5% short float, though, for Cooler. So keep an eye on this name as well. And make sure you vote for your tickers of choice in the poll. It's around 12:30, so that poll should be switched out soon. If you got to vote for out of the first 4 tickers, then that's great. If you didn't, either way, you can vote again at our new poll at 12:30 p.m. featuring 4 more tickers that have been on watch. The top 5 out of those 8 tickers between the 2 polls will be covered in the afternoon rundown. Shrink will stand right here, gesticulating wildly at the green screen, while Neil and Sean go over their thoughts on those stocks, guys.
Yes, good stuff. One thing I wanted to point out in the chat by D Loaf, Sharif, remember when I asked about which car to buy or put those funds in SMCI for a swing a week or 2 ago? Well, guess which long is printing now?
I know.
right?
I know what you're going to say.
All right. All right. By all means, man, congratulations on that one. Hey, you bought an appreciating asset. So think about it. If you bought that BMW or whatever car you were buying, you would have had to pay some gas. You would have had to get car insurance, put some new plates on it. And then by the time you drove it off the lot, you maybe lost about 2.5% on the vehicle or whatever it is. But now you're printing large on SMCI. This is why we tell you buy appreciating assets opposed to just buying things that depreciate. All right, guys? So just keep that in mind. I'm out of this NVDA trade. We're not continuing to move higher there, so I did get stopped out just before my break even. We'll see if we can get back into this position, but as of right now, we're just going to wait. This thing is, you know what, the past couple of days, the past 2 weeks even of trading, NVDA has been nothing short of frustrating, kind of in my opinion, because you expect the stock to be so strong all the time, but unfortunately it's not the case, right? Some things need to breathe. You can't be the best of the best all the time. It takes it takes some time in order to do so. You need to be patient, let the stock chop around a little bit, gather some shares, and then hopefully the price action will start to become a little bit cleaner. So just keep that in mind, guys. Things I was just told by my mentor, he's a kind man. Yeah, so buying more on iBit. Yeah, Michael G buying more iBit. I was telling Sharif about that. Yes, I need money. Let's go. I'm glad to see you in the chat. But yeah, I think we're just gonna sit here and wait a little bit here. Let me pull up some of my charts because there's some things that I do want to keep an eye out. One thing I do like is that AAPL is holding the volume weighted average price. Are we gonna take that second leg? I'm not too sure. So let's wait and see. We did hold VWAP here before. A nice indecision print right at VWAP. So we do have this primary trend still intact here, guys. Until that breaks, I think you continue to stay bullish on this thing. I remember back in the day when before this big here, I'll pull up the chart on the daily for Tesla. So before this delivery report came out, I had significantly more Tesla shares, but I cut the position and then I allocated some Apple. But then again, we got this big move. I was like, well, whatever, I'm okay with the Apple, really good pricing on the Apple position. But now I'm like kind of on the fence. I know Sharif trimmed some Apple. I'm not gonna trim any Apple. I don't know if I'm gonna take any profits or just allocate that position to just eat some more Tesla. I don't know. We got some management to do in the account, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's gonna be fun because I think everybody's sitting pretty in Suntan City right now because the market is moving higher. So I think the economy is good when the market moves higher for sure, too.
Straight up, man. Straight up. All right, so we're going to finish off the lesson that we started earlier. So just recap super quick. We talked about 3 different types of trends today. The long-term trend, the bigger move that we look on the daily or the weekly. We talked about the intermediate-term trend, that 3-week to kind of 3 to 6 month. Really, there's no hard and fast rule, but it is a shorter term trend, but definitely lasts for longer than a week. And then the shorter term trend or the near term trend that lasts a week to a period of days. We talked about how they all fit into one another. Well, they all fit into the long term trend, that is. And so that's kind of what we talked about earlier. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how the trends interact between each other, interaction between these trends. So their interconnected nature, their interconnected nature of the trend. Each trend, as I just alluded to, is part of the larger trend. For example, the intermediate trend is part or is a correction within the major trend. And the near-term trend is a fluctuation within the intermediate-term trend. So I kind of showed you a picture of this earlier. Let me see if I can find it super quick over here. Where is it at? Yeah, I'll find it in a hot second. There it is. So kind of we're weaseling our way up on Apple. This is pre-split, obviously, because this goes back to 08, 09. You don't need to be a charter market technician to know Apple is higher than it was in the mid to early 2000s. So clearly it is continuing an uptrend on Apple. Everything else is an intermediate term trend. Case in point, this kind of little downward move we had here from July of 07 down into August of that month before we weaseled our way and made new highs. So an intermediate term trend kind of looks like that within the larger move, obviously. And then the minor downtrend is just something, as the name explains, it is kind of just more noise or fluctuation within the intermediate trend itself. So I hope that just kind of explains everything there. Now let's talk about the interactions between them. So importance in analysis between the interaction between trends. So understanding how these trends interacts allows traders and investors to better predict market movements and make informed trading decisions. Recognizing the primary trend in the market helps in aligning trading strategies with the broader market direction. So you always hear me say, or you always see me do actually, when we look at a chart, I'm looking at the long-term trend, I'm looking at the intermediate, and then we go on to the intraday, which you could make the argument is the near-term trend. So always start wide. Neil says that always. When in doubt, zoom out. I'm sure everybody has a variation of that saying as well, okay? So it's just some key takeaways over here to summarize major trends. are what represent the market's long-term direction. Intermediate trends are corrections of that longer-term trend or within the major uptrend, and then the near-term trends are minor fluctuations within the intermediate trends. In the key takeaways you should be taking from this lesson, number one, align your trading strategy with the major trend for long-term success, okay? Follow the major trend. Don't try to guess tops. Use intermediate trends to refine entry and exit points. We talked about the usefulness or the benefits of analyzing the intermediate trend. One is to swing trade, right? So you know that that's going to be a 3-week to 3-month to 6-month type of thing. So it's perfectly suited for a swing. Secondly, the other reason we use the intermediate trend to position ourselves into long-term trends. So what do I mean by that? So if Apple, continues to make higher highs and higher lows, I'm looking for a pullback within, the overall movement of Apple in order to position myself with a better cost basis for that longer-term move. So intermediate trends, 2 reasons we can use them. And then be cautious of near-term trends as they can often represent noise in the broader market context. Obviously, if you're a day trader, you would disagree vehemently with this because there are ways, obviously, to make money using that shorter term or that near-term trend, intraday being one of those as well. And just some final thoughts, guys. Always consider the time horizon that aligns with your investment goals. Not everybody's going to have the same. Understanding and analyzing trends at different levels is crucial for successful trading and investing. I hope everybody obviously prints up multiple storms on the day, and that is your lesson for today. I want to tell you, though, before we send it back to Joe, a new poll has found its way on to the scene. Thank you, Ram, for that. So we're already done, I should say, our first poll. We got a lot of participation. Can't thank you guys, obviously, enough for participating in the poll. It helps the channel. It helps us narrow down the focus. Now we've got 4 new stocks. Micro Strategies. Shout out to Michael Saylor. Amazon doing well on the day today. Who put some respect on that one's name? Up 1 1/3, Katina, man, as it holds above that 200. And then Taiwan Dang Semi. Why is Taiwan Semi up 5%? Good look for Taiwan Semi today. I had to throw one small cap gapper in there. I know it's going to get last. That's all right. I know there's not that much love for small cap gappers.
I voted for it.
Hey, I'm going to vote for it too.
Yeah, I truly did.
It's beating Taiwan Semi right now. Okay.
Let's go.
So, guys, please get your vote in the chat right now. It really does help the channel, and it does help us narrow everything down, Joseph.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, guys. Hey, Apple's starting to break that trend line here. Let's see if it can continue to hold. We decided to get back in on some NVDA. I'm not sure, is the positions board updated, Ram? Because I was out of NVDA for a while and then I got back in, but it still kind of showed the same one. So maybe we'll get that sorted out. Yeah, guys, we're continuing to hold here these levels as the Qs makes all-time highs on the day, but just a smidge, which is totally fine. The SPY is continuing to just continue to crawl higher as well, guys. So I just want to take a little quick look at XLF and see what XLF is up to, because I know it is one of the weaker sectors on the session. And yeah, sure enough, it is putting in a red day here. Nothing to worry about. I know there was some news on JPM as well. So that definitely has some influence on it for sure. But yeah, guys, this is a sector ETF. It's really nice. I think this is something that you would definitely want to play for the long term, especially if you want to get some exposure to some really good banks, the American banks. But yeah, I just wanted to see what XLF was up to. Let me know what you guys are looking at in the chat. Oh yeah, there's one thing I did want to mention as well too, is some options-based trading. Sean was talking to me about this on Friday, guys, if you got to tune in. And I said, yeah, well, Sean, I think I really like Apple here to remain bullish. And I already own some equity, so I just want to create some credit-based trades on it where I just have the ability to not be so directionally biased on this thing as we can continue to move higher. But again, if you're creating bull put spreads on this thing and you're just collecting premium week after week, Apple's is one of the stocks to do it on. It's less volatile. The market's starting to cool down, so we're not as reactive to some of the macro data that comes out, which is really bullish for credit as well too, but because you don't want to get caught in those volatility onslaughts. And one thing I really want to point out on the week is that we don't have any really major macro data coming out on the week as well too. I think there's only, I think it's like unemployment rate or jobless claims later in the week that are coming up. So this is a really good sign. I like it when I don't have data prints like the CPI, PPI coming out and PCE coming out. Especially when you're holding credit-based trades, because that volatility onslaught can go against you fiercely. So just keep in mind, guys, if you're selling 10 deltas on Apple and you just continue to sell these positions, I had one 2 weeks ago, worked out fantastic. I didn't make any last week, but again, we're looking in here for this week to continue this move. We're now all-time highs on Apple, so let's look to create some credit-based trades on these really strong tech stocks, where we're not outright owning any equity because we are creating new highs. So you do give yourself that leeway room for the pullbacks, right? So again, it's just for those who aren't familiar with credit-based trading, the reason why I like these is because it's not as directionally biased. You have the ability to build the thesis. We're saying, okay, yeah, maybe I do think the stock is going to appreciate in the near term, so a week out, but I don't know if there's going to be any significant pullbacks. So let me create a trade saying, I don't think that this underlying asset is going to go below said price. So something that you would want to look to do on Apple is like, okay, hey, maybe a week or two out, you can create a trade, a bull put spread that says, hey, 32 fives and 32 fives and then 32 27 fives, or sorry, 32 27 fives, whatever I'm trying to say there. But again, keep in mind, when you create these trades, now we know that we're not going to go below said price. So that's why I like to create those type of trades, Sharif.
All right, let's have a look over here.
32, 239. I don't know. I'm just talking numbers for some reason. I don't.
Yeah.
Looking at it, so.
Guys, SNTI is starting to curl back up here. Really good VWAP hold, making me really regret having taken everything out. Now I'm just starting to think whether I should be working my way back in. It's got a bit of a rejection there at 12, but a symphony of higher lows. Yeah, basically holds VWAP beautifully. I mean, there's one wick breach of VWAP, no closing prints below VWAP on SNTI, despite the fact that it's up 450%. Here comes 12. So it's doing the dance with 12. There is size of note, about, let's say, 200, 250 lots from what we can see at the $12 level. Not the biggest size, certainly, given what it's done today, but a predictable level that it's been rejecting, $12 on SNTI. But I see you guys yelling about Tesla. New, I believe, high. No, we came awfully close to making a new high a day on TSLA. Now it looks as if, you know, it's getting into that area of resistance. That's the implied balance high that we printed at 930. 358.78 is the high there. We work our best there with 358.57. So about 21 pennies south of the high, now coming right back down into, below 358, but still a higher low, no question about it. So what's the move here on Tesla? Well, we're either going to reject this area, make our way down to VWAP at 355, or another possibility is there is this area of resistance earlier at 357, let's say, and a third to 357 generally. It's this area crest over here that we put in at 1020 until we gave up the ghost there at 1035. So we could find some support there possibly. And in fact, we did find resistance on the way up there. So this could be an actual area of support. Here's what I mean. This candle from 1220 all the way even until this candle at 1240, we were rejecting that 357 to 357.50. Couldn't break through it. This candle changed things. And look how this one ended up being a topping tail as well, telling you that there certainly was selling around there. So people were using this level to get short. Because look how much we pushed it down on that particular candle. But, obviously the bulls ended up winning that argument because it ended up making a newer high. So what I do like is a possible 357 to 357 and a quarter dip on Tesla. We'll see if that ends up manifesting or not. Otherwise, 355 at the volume weighted average price. Tesla strong, up almost 3.75% right now. So good look for the Cybertruck on the day. Meta, coming down a little bit there off the highs, 594.50. It's breaching the 10 on the way possibly to the 20. I like Meta over here at 590. We did reject 590 earlier as an area crest in that really liquid time of the day around 10:10, 10:15. Then look what we did when we worked right back into that 590 area. We whiffled and waffled. We had an area, I don't want to say a whole lot of consolidation, but from 11.05 till we took it out 11.35, we were ranging below that level. So I'm all ears and eyes and whatever else at 590 here on the side or in the Zuck train. So I'm going to put an alert for a 590 dip. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. That's fine, but I'll be made aware of it should it come. 590 META to my liking at that level. We played Apple a zillion times as well off the volume weighted average price. It's still basically ranging RAM between 240 and a quarter to 390.50. It's been in that range for a hot minute. That hot minute started right at the top of the show, 11 o'clock. We haven't been above or below those levels since 11. That's almost 2 hours now, Joseph, of ranging here on AAPL, but I expected it to do this. I didn't think we were going to get decisively at 240 break and take. That's just not how Apple works, but that's fine. But now we got to pay some bills. Those bills are important to pay. Show the screen. Yes, boss. Absolutely, boss. You name it, you get it. Here it is. All right, guys, trade the pool. Trade the pool stock trading competition has officially begun, with over 2,500 traders competing to prove they have what it takes to rule the pool. Let's check out the leaderboard and see who's leading the chart on day one. It is an interesting individual here by the name of Alan Dump. And he's from the Philippines, and he's up big, Katina, man. 51,275 is what his P&L is, and his best trade, a respectable, very respectable, 22,850. If he stays in this place, he will win a valuation account of up to $160,000 in buying power to trade with. In second, we have Anthony Herbert of the United States up with a nice move here. Their P&L 40,250 with their best trade being a big boy trade at $41,500, and he can win an evaluation account of up to $80,000 in buying power, being in second. And then third here, Cynics the Cool out of Egypt, up here. It looks like there was one trade here, Joseph, because his P&L is 38,590, and his best trade is also 38,590 with a win percentage of 100. Looks like that's all he needs right there.
You know Ryan Gordon?
Ryan Gordon,
yeah.
Yes. Ryan Gordon. Remind me. Hold on. We're not done reading the ad, Ram.
Oh, we're still
He
going
can win an
on.
evaluation account of up to $20,000 in buying power. It's only the beginning, so stay tuned. By the end of the week, you will know who will win the big prize. Shout out to the great folks there at Trade the Pool. Ryan Gordon, it sounds like a baseball player. Am I off?
No, he's a world jiu-jitsu champion.
Oh,
that was a tough one, man.
That was tough. My bad. I'm thinking of Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, you're thinking of Aaron
my
with
bad.
the basketball player. But no.
Adara, the slam dunk competition guy. Adara is at the big desk.
Keep an eye on Coinbase here, also maybe Apple, but this is more of a Coinbase-related catalyst here, COIN. Company announcing here that it's launching Apple Pay integration for fiat to currency purchases. It's going to be offered through on-ramp, so basically this will provide faster conversions, lightweight KYC, and apparently seamless onboarding for apparently the 60 million user base for Apple Pay. So 60 million users here could benefit apparently from this Coinbase Apple Pay integration, guys. Keep an eye on COIN, which is not reacting too much to this story. We got a little bit of a volume spike I guess it looks like 10 minutes before this was announced on the 3-minute chart, but nothing since, guys.
We're having a good time over here, Joseph.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. When I was talking about the bull put spread on I was looking at Tesla as well too. But again, so 232 fives to 227 fives is something that I would look to create a spread on base that trade, guys. So that, as I mentioned before, the purpose of credit-based trading is to kind of eliminate the directional bias, where you can build a thesis that says, I don't think price is going to go below X. So that's why I like credit spreads. And then someone else said something in the chat. But yeah, guys, I'm in here back in the NVDA again to see if we can hold these levels. If we break, that's fine. I'm also short Apple, surprisingly, because I had a level pointed out, a primary trend as part of the lesson. And then once that breached, then I said, hey, this can give me an opportunity to get into this. So let me fix this this dark pool print here, and then maybe we can take a better look. Oh, well, we'll send it off to Sharif while I fix this off here quick, and then we can see a little bit better of what we got going on.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a couple of things. Firstly, the trade that I'm currently involved in, MDAI, was, again, only reason we're in this, it held VWAP. Very straightforward, okay? So we've wet our beak a couple of times. Now I'm layering some more outs there, possibly in the mid 50s and low 60s on MDAI. We'll see what we get with this one. But there is a new small cap gapper that has weaseled its way onto the scene. It goes by the ticker MVST, Microvast Holdings. They're an advanced battery technology company that develop battery components and systems for electric commercial vehicles and utility scale energy storage systems. That's a lot to say. All I know is they're above $1 right now. So I like the look, very respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart, but we've waxed poetic about this, to use an Adair term, multiple times. It is a different trade, excuse me, north and south of $1. I'm going to have to wait and see how this one wants to resolve. Does it want to hang out above $1 and then start using that dollar-ish level as support, or is it going to be a quick Christmas tree retracement where we breach $1 and then drop down, make lower lows and lower highs? Something's going on over there. We're gonna let the production team absolutely cook, but everything's fine. Everything's fine. 109 over there. It's dipping down right now until $1. So I'm keeping my eye on this one. It's a very respectable chart in how it's traded, but again, it's at that dollar critical area for this one. We'll have to see how it resolves. 109 HOD right now on MVS Dang T. Keeping my eye on this one. SNTI is continuing to do its thing. What is going on? My computer is freaking out. It's telling me I have no more memory. And that, yeah, it's probably not good. Neil was like, that's probably not good. Yeah, oh, we're good to go again. Okay, good.
Yeah,
so that's the look right now. MVST, we're going to have to load that up on a trading screen so we can get a better idea of what the spread and the trading situation is like. This trades on the NQ. So it's a penny spread right now. Any obvious areas of resistance that I can see here on the level 2? Not much. There's some resistance here at $1.05. I'm more inclined to want to take this off $1. I'm going to try with a dip trade over here at the $1. We're not going to give it that much room. I'm not going to give it that much room. We're going to give it to 96 or 95 pennies. We're not talking about a whole lot. I'm going to hang out here at the $1.02 so that I can possibly get filled here if we do dip down and cross that 102 area. Now, if we don't, that's fine. I'm going to give this one the old community college try and see exactly how this one ends up working out. MDAI, we take out those levels, baby. 55s gets taken out. Appreciate you, Joseph. Now we're looking at 62s over here. See if we can weasel up there. This one holding VWAP looking good. Ultimate high, though, guys, on this one, 66. So $2.66. HOD on MDAI. We'll see if this one wants to hold up below the high of day. Obviously, for my purposes, I hope it does not. Now, we are in MVST. So let's go ahead and put out the out, and it's going to be right at 95s. So we're going to give this one a few pennies over here. If it's not the trade that I want, now I've given this to below the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. So I'm going to look to defend $1, knowing that there can be volatility while it zigs and zags with that $1. But I just want to give it enough room so that if it wicks down and comes back up, I don't get shaken out. I'm giving it to below the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. I think that's plenty. Given the current price action right now. So we'll see what we get here with MVST. And I want to remind you guys, there is a new poll, and there ain't enough votes. I mean, we had almost 1,500 on that first poll. We only have 439? Nah, we're going to need to do better than that. You got some big hitters up on this poll. You got MicroStrategies, Ram. You got Amazon, Taiwan Semiconductor with their 2 nanometer processes is the envy of the world. And then SNTI, obviously a small cap gapper that I like to trade on the day. So Get into the chat right now and have your say every day, guys.
Yeah, good stuff, as always, Sharif. So I wanted to look a little bit more into kind of just this Apple thesis, creating credit-based trades on these stocks that are making all-time highs. Instead of buying the outright equity, there's ways you can do that. So December, everything changes from the weekend. So just taking a second look at this, guys, the 230 put is going to put you right at that 10 delta that expires on the 13th of December. So that thesis just states, hey, we don't think that Apple is going to go below 230 by the 13th of December. So if you look at the stock, I think that's a reasonable trade. I think you can build a thesis around that. I really like this trade. Again, we'll look a little bit more into it. It's a really strong day, so there might be some room where you can collect a little bit more premium. But Joe, what are your thoughts on CHAU 560.25, 15? Call the volume extremely high. Yeah, so let's take a look at this one here for you. And I know you're looking to construct an options-based trade on this. So let's take a look at this. Oh, China. Yeah. I'm not even gonna dig any more into this, to be honest with you, because yeah, exactly. That's it. We don't need to be investing in this stuff or putting our money into something that's so speculative. This is also a leveraged derivative as well too, or a leveraged ETF, the 2X. So I don't know if you want to be playing options on this one. I'm not too familiar with Chow, but again, I was having this conversation with one of my hockey buddies, and I heard Sean saying this exact same thing. It's like, why are we gonna put some money into China, especially when working with the government is so difficult? There's definitely other better places you can put your money. So the incredible Mr. Lib, you're gonna get the thumbs down on that one from me. Yeah, but hey, that's me. Hey, why am I? Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. So I'm not going to suggest you to do that. But guys, we're in this Apple short here that's really working. We're testing VWAP right now. We're going to talk some more about it right after we get back from Madeira.
Just a one catalyst who I really quickly want to mention. I'm just seeing this come through the wire and how ASML apparently they're forecasting their impact of their export restrictions to fall within their outlook. So ASML providing an update here, expecting that their export restriction impact will still likely fall within their overall guidance. So I guess not an update to their guidance, just be aware of any potential moves on that with ASML. It's just a fancy way of them saying it seems like they're going to maintain their guidance despite export restriction. So let's keep an eye on XRP in the crypto space, making a bit of a pullback from its high of day, which is around here, the 2.87 level. As of right now, we're around 263 for Ripple, which, look at this volume candle. This is the largest volume candle we've had since November 22nd on the daily chart here. And November 22nd is the day after Gary Gensler announced he'd be stepping down as SEC chair. So that's certainly a pretty good look here for Ripple, pushing to the upside. No new catalyst on this that I could find, but it is now the third crypto name here. So below BTC and ETH, now we have XRP. This one has benefited a lot this month as well. If we look at a monthly chart here for Ripple, this is a great look. This is the month of November, breaking out of that support level around that 50 cent, pushing to the upside. Definitely its highest volume candle on a monthly basis by far. And of course, this was influenced not just by the election, but also by the resignation of SEC chair Gary Gensler and the fact that it's Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse reportedly met with future president there, Donald Trump. So that's going to be a great look. Let's see if XRP can continue this awesome run heading into the next month. Also, a quick catalyst here. We mentioned this earlier, but Coinbase announcing here that they are partnering with Apple Pay for integrations for purchases. So now it has access to Apple Pay's 60 million users. So keep an eye on COIN with this AAPL collaboration, guys, and make sure to vote for the new poll. You have 4 tickers to choose from there. They're going to be TSM, MSTR, SNTI, and Amazon. So make sure you get those votes in before that rundown at 2 p.m. Back to the Bash Brothers.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Adira. Guys, I wanted to mention something. I was just telling Neil this off camera. ASML, a company that I just got into, I'm trying to build up my position in, is up nicely on the day, 3%. apparently they're expecting the effects of the tariffs to fall within what they forecasted. It's up to almost $21 on the day. Again, it's a $700 name, so $21 accounts to 3%. But ASML, and look, the reason I was really interested at this level, this is what I perceive to be an area of accumulation. Okay, we've talked about this in the past, Wyckoff's accumulation and distribution patterns. That's from the technical sense. From the fundamental sense, this still is a monopoly. You know, whether or not that could get disrupted in the future, some, grumblings about the Chinese looking at making their own ultraviolet lithography machine. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not saying they can't do it, but I'll believe it when I see it. Anyway, so this one, I'm invested in it. I'm looking at building a bigger position in it. I have like very minuscule size. Obviously not happy with the latest price pump up, but there is this level that we could look to reject possibly on the 14th. I think we had a big boy day there. We got into about 712. We're not far off that level. Essentially a 710 HOD, 709.90, but Adair does have something for us at the big desk.
Some more context there for ASML. Thank you, Sheree, for bringing that up. I mentioned it briefly at the start of the crypto update, but now we actually also have their numbers. So they did maintain that guidance. Again, they said they do not expect there to be, quote, a direct material impact on their business in 2024 due to those export restrictions. And they're still forecasting their 2025 net sales between 30 billion euros to 35 billion euros. The lower point of that does still miss the estimate, though, of 32.56 billion euros. So ASML did get a volume spike there on that announcement that they do not see export restrictions impacting their sales. Good look here for this name, guys.
Totally. Yeah, totally agree. Guys, I just want to point something out. Someone in the chat mentioned about assignment, and they got assigned on some spreads. Well, the point of the spread is so that you don't get assigned. Your broker should exercise that protective put or call automatically. But I just want to point out, don't get into credit spreads unless you know the risk, right? Because they can be extremely, you can take outsized losses if you're not putting in your stops because you are writing options, right? So if you're trying to short a call, then essentially you're short. So if something squeezes, you can lose extreme amounts of money on a leveraged derivative like options, and the same with puts, right? So, but puts are, I wouldn't say a little bit more safer, but again, there's more plans around that because you have cash secured puts as well too. But just make sure that when you are creating credit-based trades and you're using delta as your probability of profit, make sure that you have those stops implemented. We did lessons on them before. I tend to use 100% of the credit received is going to be my stop loss. So if I receive $20 per contract combination, then that stop loss is going to be $40, right? So I have to give back the 20 that was given to me in a net credit and then additional debited of $20. So guys, I really, really want to point out that when you are creating credit-based trades, you need to have stops. I'm telling you, you absolutely need to have stops. Otherwise, the systems won't work. But again, I don't know what's going on with my positions board here, guys, but I just got out of Apple here. I was short. It came back against me. I'm like, why am I shorting a strong stock? But again, it does seem that it wants to break some potential support levels and possibly go through the volume-weighted average price. So we'll keep an eye on this one. I don't know if we're going to get a second entry on it, but if it does break with any form of momentum, then we'll look to participate on this one. But again, yeah, I got kind of spooked out on this, but that's okay because there will always be another position, guys. So yeah, let me know what you guys are looking at in the chat. If you guys want to know any options-based trades. Sorry, someone mentioned something on options oh yeah, sorry, we went over that already, the Chinese 2X. But yeah, again, I would stay away from that one. There's so many other products that you can trade, so many better underlying assets. If you're looking to trade, you can create credit-based trades, as I mentioned before, especially on stocks that are trending really strong. You just want to stick with the momentum instead of just buying equity at the all-time highs. So yeah, let me know what's up with OMEX. Yeah, sure, let's take a look at OMEX. What is this? Odyssey Marine Exploration. Yeah, let's take a look here. And as of right now, it's not looking too good on OMEX. Sharif, this is definitely down your alleyway. It's looking like almost down. Wow. That is absolutely hectic the past couple of days. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with this company. Are you familiar with Odyssey Marine?
MEX?
Yeah,
Let's have a look,
pull it
man.
up,
That's a hell of a
news
move
there.
there.
Yeah, exactly. So
Absolutely.
will get the news up on that one. But again, that's not something that you'd want to be in from here because that is a hefty move down. And for recovery, if it ever does recover, it may take an awfully long time.
Here it is, Joseph.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this company. They're a small company, guys, about $10 million market cap. Odyssey Marine Exploration, they discover and they validate, as well as they develop sea floor mineral resources. Company has diversified mineral portfolio, which includes projects controlled by the company and others in which it has a minority ownership, blah, blah, blah. So they deal with the ocean. Great, great. They're looking for minerals in the ocean. Fantastic. I love to hear it. It's an ugly chart, okay? It's a very ugly daily chart. Now, it's got a bit of a bump today. Is there a reason? I am seeing nothing on my blotter to account for OMEX being up a light 21.5%, other than possibly just some speculation. We did have, though, a move up on the 29th of note. So I'm looking back on my blotter to see if there was anything entered on the 29th. And again, I'm seeing nothing. So I'm very suspicious of this, and I'm not interested in trading it because it lacks a catalyst, and I really don't know what's going on. Now, that's the daily. Intraday, we're light on volume as well, Joseph. I mean, it's a 50 penny name, and we've only done a million two. That ain't gonna cut it for me.
That ain't cutting it.
That ain't gonna cut it. So it's a great breakout there on the daily. Don't know why it's moving. Don't really care, but it's not to my liking. It doesn't fit within my parameters for an intraday trade. I'm gonna have to leave it at that. MVST, here we go. We're back involved here, and we're printing a couple of prints, and bang, we take out the top there for a VWAP dip. Appreciate you, Joseph. Let's set up some more. Let's hang out at 103, because what's life without whimsy? Who knows? Maybe we'll make it up there. So MVST doing the dance with no pants with $1 right now. We got in, where'd we get in? We got in at 93s for a VWAP hold. This is the second attempt at it. So I was red on it to start. Now we're looking to go back green if we can. Let's look at the other one. MDAI, what is this one doing? Well, it's still whiffling and waffling near that area we got the last print. That's $2.55. We've been waiting for a hot minute in the low 60s, and looks like we're gonna continue to wait with this bad boy as it doesn't take out local highs. So I'm dealing with a couple of small cap gappers, MVST and MDAI, both doing decent right now. Okay, MVST is working into that 103. It's gonna have to cross. So it's got a penny spread right now. Good recovery for MVST. It did bamboozle me, sadly, at that dollar trade, so we ended up getting stopped out, but we got right back in once it did hold the volume with average price. So now what I'm looking for is a high of day break and take. That high day is at 109. So what does that mean for you guys? Well, basically, I'm not looking at taking too much out between here and 109. Because if we do, then we risk obviously not having anything if this does test the high of the day. So my last beak wetter until this takes out that 109, if it takes out 109, will be 103s, but we're gonna have to cross to get that print. We're gonna get back though and talk more about these small cap gappers once we get back from the human algo at the big desk.
Thank you for that, Sharif. We're getting more commentary still on the exit of Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger. This was phrased as a retirement, but there have been some reports here from Bloomberg that he was actually forced out by the board. Now we have comments from Angelo Zeno, who is a CFRA analyst. This is an analyst saying that Pat Gelsinger's leave from the company should not be viewed as surprising. Apparently, Angelo Zeno views that Pat Gelsinger did a lot in a positive way to help with the company's manufacturing execution, but the company was still too slow with regards to AI infrastructure and needing that switch. So with that in mind, this CFRA analyst expects the next CEO of Intel is likely going to be a semiconductor industry veteran. And Intel should be apparently focusing here on being more nimble, getting back to free cash flow, and minimizing share losses. So this 3.5% gain today, not a bad start, but keep an eye on that. We have some analysts speculating that the new Intel CEO could or should be in that semiconductor space. In the meantime, they do have two people from Intel, the company itself. One of them is the CFO. The other one is the head of client computing relations. So two people from two people from Intel, currently serving as co-CEOs, but we'll see who we actually get as this actual appointment, guys.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting CEO
Yeah,
search
think
there.
so.
I can't
think
wait
so.
to see who
Yeah,
takes
they
the helm
pick.
there, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait to find out.
I actually agree with you on that one. I'm looking forward to that one, Sharif. But yeah, guys, I got out of this Apple trade, unfortunately, prematurely, which is totally okay. There's going to be another opportunity, I believe. Let's see if we can get in. I think we do bounce potentially. So let's see if we can continue this primary trend. Just speaking of the lessons, which I do think we can, absolutely. So 239.41 was a base, solid support. We have now cracked it. So let's see if we can continue to hold, put in some indecision candles, and then maybe we can continue that northeast movement. But as of right now, guys, I had a thesis build just from holding these trend lines, and then once it breached, that's when I got into the position. So let's see if we can come back and retest it, come back down, and then maybe continue to move higher. But as of right now, it seems like the overall market is pulling back. Some of these heavier tech stocks are pulling back. SMCI is still kind of hovering around the days. Highs around $42 with a high day of around 44.18-ish. So yeah, we're still hovering up around there. Let's take a look at some of the discretionary stocks like Amazon. Let's see how, Amazon's having a little bit tougher of a session, which is totally fine. Again, just any opportunity you can get to buy some of these dips, I would definitely look to get involved in those. So let's take a look at this thing from a daily perspective, guys. So what happened here is I mentioned last week is that we did breach the gap, and then now we completely filled it. We gapped up about halfway through it around 209, kind of where we're sitting at opening price right now, and then a high of 213. So that gap is almost filled. We did kind of make a gap in between that, but I think that will be filled probably by the end of the day if it does decide that it wants to continue to sell. But again, Amazon, just an absolute banger of a stock. Those are the things that you want to get involved with, not those 2x bull ETFs, the China bull ETFs. Like I understand that they're cheap, but there's so many other things that you can look to play. So again, we're just breaking down here on Apple. Let's take a quick look at the cues from an intraday perspective. We're still hovering above VWAP, which is totally fine. Let's see if we get a pullback anywhere between now and 2 p.m. and we'll see if we can take it higher. But as of right now, I think we pull back. The market might slow down a little bit in the afternoon hours. I mean, Friday was an absolute electric day. It was a lot more involved than what I guess some of us anticipated, because usually those days are a little bit quiet, but then sure enough, you get hit with an absolute banger of a trending day. So that's what you want to see, and that's what you want to look forward to. And I know there's a couple people in the chat that are saying Bitcoin like 56K.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
People you know what I mean? So that thing is going to need to fall 50%. And I think that's just a little bit too difficult. I don't think it'll be as rapid as maybe previous declines because of the abilities that you have in the ETFs. Now you can hedge them, right? So just speaking hypothetically, I don't think it is. Too much money. There's way too much big money in this thing. Yeah, there's no way. There's too much big money up and around the 60s and 70s, and then even moving up through here. So as the institutions and retailer are getting involved again, I think a lot of this, they were saying is that this, Sharif, that 20% move higher was a lot of institutions. But now that there's more retail looking to get involved, this can absolutely squeeze Bitcoin. I know some analysts had like 350K by the beginning of 26 or mid 26, which is totally reasonable. So again, guys, if you have so many analysts just pointing out the fact, hey, 6 figures, $250,000, 300K, the chances of this thing going back down to 56K is really, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen or it can't happen. Anything can happen. But again, you're going to need people to just lose all belief in this underlying asset in order for it to kind of reach those levels, because there's too much large money now with the institutions and retail stepping back in order for that thing to get back.
And quite frankly, what kind of I'm not willing to make the presupposition that institutions are done buying. I am not going to make that at all.
There's no way.
No way. They're just getting started, Joseph.
Just getting started.
Man. Look, guys, there was a ton of money on the sidelines until the beginning of this year, and it mostly was in treasuries. And we knew we were going to see the unwinding of the yield, the treasury trade, to get you that 5 points on your money, basically.
Still trillions of cash on the sidelines.
There's still, bro.
There's still trillions
Look,
of
and
cash
the
on
yields are not
sidelines.
that much lower. Let's call a spade a spade. The yields are still elevated because Donald Trump is projected to be a little inflationary because the economy is going to grow under him. So when the economy grows, there's inflation by default, right? A healthy inflation, mind you. Now, so that's had an effect on the yield. So you could say, okay, Sharif, well, that same trade is still in play. I can throw my money in a shorter dated treasury and still make that, 4% coupon. Fine. But that's not where you want to be when equities are giving you like multiple folds if you're making a lot more money in equities. In addition to that, you're going to make more likely money in Bitcoin. So I don't think that money stays on the sideline like in the way it does now. We know that one of the biggest cats out there, Warren Buffett, holding a record amount of cash. What's he holding, guys? 300 million, something like that?
More than a billion.
Anybody knows?
Yeah, billion.
Yeah, it's some ridiculous amount of money that he's holding on the side, right? I don't think that probably stays as the case for very long. I think he weasels into something now. He may not weasel into crypto because we already know how he felt about that, or we know how Charlie Munger felt about that. So we'll see exactly what we get there, but I'm still very bullish on Bitcoin, and I don't think that the institutions are done buying at all.
325 billion in cash.
Wow, I said million?
Yeah.
Wow,
I was thinking about you. Yeah. The guy has,
lunch.
billion.
300. Yeah. So
I think that was more of a strategic move. I think.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, with the election.
We talked about that with.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris was floated of having the idea. It depends really how the down ballot elections went with the Senate and the House, but there was talk about her possibly taxing unrealized capital gains. That had a lot of people worried. So some went into cash, some went into gold, hence the breakout in gold. You can make the case some people went into crypto as well with it breaking out. So I'm not saying that trade's going to unwind, but there was that fear. So a lot of people were holding their positions in cash as a result of that or some other asset. So we'll keep tabs on that. All right, guys, back to trading over here. This level on Meta is of interest to me, and I did have an alert here on Meta to account for this area crest that we had rejected earlier. This was the 590 area that I was earmarking here on Meta. It didn't quite make it down there, nor is it quite done making lower highs. In fact, that lower high situation still in play on Meta. But we got a couple of green candle formation if this current candle closes green and just open. So who knows? I'm keeping my eye on Meta. I like it possibly here for this area crest to hold as support. META. Interesting area for me at these levels. Let's flip to some of the small cap gappers that we've got on. All right, so MVST is now doing topping tails through $1. We're long 93s. It's printed 99s, but that is not what I want to see. I don't want to see topping tails through $1. That means the shorts are winning currently right now, keeping this bad boy south of $1. And then even if we just look on if we don't look on a one candle basis like I'm doing here and we look at the overall trend, well, it's successively lower high, lower high, lower high. You guys get it. So I'm kind of concerned about what I'm seeing right now with the MVST, thinking maybe I should just wet my beak on some more profits here. We'll see exactly. I'm going to try to pack my patience a little bit. I do like what I'm seeing from MDAI. Now, I like the fact that I'm getting these higher lows with that 255, 250 acting as resistance. What I don't like is the volume drop off. That concerns me. Because if a big seller comes in, well, he's going to eat up all these levels right here. And then I could find myself quickly at 235, 230. So this is concerning here. This volume drop off on MDAI. Chart pattern wise, looks great. Looks fantastic. Looking possibly to take out that 255 or 260 level that we've been kind of dancing with all day. So a couple of trades on right now, MDAI, MVST, but I'm really interested to see what Meta does in and around this level. So we're 2 minutes deep into this candle right now, and it does look like it might hold that 590 level. The lowest print it got there, and I didn't get my alert ringing on this one was 590.40. My level was 590.38, so that's why we didn't get the alert ram. But this one now curling generally off that 590 level, the area that we kind of had an eye on earlier. So that's my look right now on these mega caps as well as the small caps. Let's have a look at some others. Anything of interest over here? I like a possible 171 hold up on goggles. It was very respectful of the volume weighted average price. The last time it dipped into it at 1120, 1125, it was a 2-candle hold up. Very respectful of that level. Now it's kind of doing a bit of a double top with 172 being that HOD, so it's unable to ascend above 172. It could come back in and test 171. Where VWAP is. So I'm interested also there on Google for a quick dip trade off the volume weighted average price. Not many in the way of large cap trades today, but I'll take them where I can get them. All right, let's see over here. MDAI, MVST starting to make some highs over here, so not a bad look. Let's see how our poll is doing. Okay, all right, 700 votes, Ram. That's not too bad.
How's your small cap doing there?
Which one? Oh, let's see. It's in last place as well. Taiwan Semi's in last place. They're kind of fighting there, Joseph. 13% for Taiwan Semi, 14% for SNTI. Ooh. I mean, it's up 464%. Like, let's put some respect on this one's name. But Amazon and MicroStrategies kind of knew that these bad boys would be up on the board leading today. Amazon did have a headline, guys. I'll just remind you quickly what the situation was there in Amazon. If I can just pull it up. Yes. Record sales for Black Friday to the tune of 10.8 billion. That was a 10.2% increase year over year, Joseph. And today, Cyber Monday, not to be outdone by Black Friday, we're predicting a 13.2 billion type day. And whether or not we hit that high today, Cyber Monday, the biggest shopping day of the year. And obviously, Amazon stands to benefit from that. Give you one quick other piece of information here. The buy now, pay later services, aka Affirm, Klarna, and some others, 7.6 billion in revenue they generated, Joseph, in the month of November, just alone. People loving this BNPL, buy now, pay later. Can I say something to you, though?
Well, obviously.
Man, Affirm has got some credit card rates. They're charging you 20% APR. They were charging you 0%. When I financed this iPhone, I got 0% on this. I just had to pay a quick $50, I think, admin fee. That was it. Now you're paying that $60 admin fee, and you're paying 20 some odd %. So they're making money now. It's not about them buy now, pay never. They're making money on this. So.
And I heard, and I was listening to. They're saying that credit cards up in the States can get up to 30%, which is absolutely ridiculous. And Sharif, to add on to that, it was a record. Again, we talked about Thanksgiving, the American Thanksgiving. It was record sales on a lot of fronts, but it was the most spent per person of all time. You know how much? Did you see how much the Americans spent per person on Thanksgiving?
No. How much?
It's like $650 per person. Yeah, that's absolutely insane, dude. Like what do you guys? That's insane. Yeah, it's absolutely insane amount of money. That would be Christmas and Thanksgiving combined. If you're getting anything from me, that is if. So yeah, guys.
You tell him, my man.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, we're here in the Apple long. I said to myself, I don't know why I was short, even though this kind of played out how I was. But then I flipped because I do think that we can kind of curl back over and somewhat recover. I'm not going to hold on to this too long. We had a couple trades today. So far, they haven't really been working out, so that's okay. There's always another day. But yeah, guys, let us know in the chat what you're looking at. Because I'm curious to what you guys are looking at for the week, what kind of trades you're putting on. As I mentioned before, there's no really outstanding macro data, nothing crazy anyways. I'll pull up what we got on the horizon just from market reports and see what we got going on there. But again, I think it's a little bit more of a quiet week, which I really like. So let's see what we have here. So again, 10 o'clock we had the ISM manufacturing. That was today. Construction spending as well too. So then Tuesday we have job openings. Again, 10 a.m. job openings that might have a little effect, but nothing crazy. And then Wednesday we have ADP employment, and then ISM at 10 a.m. and then factory orders. Thursday, initial jobless claims, and then Friday is the U.S. unemployment report. So if anything, you're looking pretty clear for macro data on the week other than Friday with the U.S. unemployment rate. Because I do think that the Fed is living up to their dual mandate, Shreve, maximum employment and inflation slowly coming down. So I think, again, that's just another reason why just to remain bullish on equities. That doesn't mean just jump in right now, right? That doesn't mean just because they say we're bullish, doesn't mean just dive into the deep end. Assess some positions, be prepared, get your allocations planned out, decide what you want to buy, wait for those prices to come in. If you have a lot of cash, you're cash heavy, you can do cash secured puts and really wait for those prices to come in while you collect some premium. But again, there's just a lot of things lining up to be bullish in the equities front. So yeah, guys, we're gonna hold on to this Apple trade here. Bitcoin up a bit above 95 again, about 95 halves, slowly recovering. I do think that this thing is gonna chop around a little bit. Shreve, I'm expecting a little bit of a pullback because I remember on Friday we were talking, I was like, this is a pivotal moment, I think if I'm saying that right, that if we need to break this with momentum, and if we didn't, then we could potentially pull back. And sure enough, that has been the case. I'm not saying that we're gonna pull back extremely deep, but again, when I seen this really large engulfing candle, I was expecting within a couple of days that we were to break that 100K. That hasn't been the case. So the longer we chop around, the more I feel that we will pull back a little bit deeper, maybe 90s, south of 90s. But again, just a liquidity grab, and then we can continue that movement to the top side. Because I know a lot of people are looking to get
let's bring that, if we can. Let's talk about some of the spoilers. So we heard, I don't want to call it a wild level of 56, 57,000. Who knows? We're not, we don't see the future. But to me, that seems like a too deep of a retracement. Now, where are your levels? So I've got 90-ish, 89. So you and I talked about this on Friday quickly. I have this kind of bias that it ranges in a 10,000 point range for a hot minute. Who knows how long? But if that 90 level was to give way, Joseph, I'm looking at 70 to 75-ish. I don't know how you feel generally about that kind of level.
I think that would be pretty deep pullback. I mean, because that would be a really deep correction, in my opinion. That would be going to test this breakout high, right? Yeah. So again, that's about like a 30% move right there. I don't know if we're going to get that deep, and if we do, there's definitely going to be some more potential downside. If we get relatively to these 82 levels-ish, Sharif, I still wouldn't be worried. But again, anytime you get into those mid-70s, then it's like, what's going on here? There might be something alarming. But again, I do think that you mentioned this 10K range. I do think we chop around kind of in that 10K range. But again, we got Tom Lee, we got Saylor, we got all these people that are so extremely bullish that it's hard. I don't see us like retracing 30%.
It's tough.
I don't see it. I'm not saying that it can't happen, right? But again, 30% is really deep correction. You know what I mean? So yeah.
We're gonna send it to Adara at the big desk. She's got something for us.
We're gonna take a look here at the U.S. dollar as we always do around 1:30 p.m. during this midday. It's also worth noting you only have about half an hour left to get in that poll and vote for your ticker of choice. You have 4 options here. The top 5 tickers between this poll and the poll that began at 11 a.m. with the midday will be covered during the afternoon rundown by Neil and Sean, and you'll have Sharif giving you some coverage and insight on these stocks as well at the green screen. So make sure you don't miss that segment and make sure you get your voice heard by voting. Really quickly as well, before we get to the DXY, it's worth noting, we just had ASML come out here about half an hour ago saying that they do not see that their guidance is going to be impacted here by those foreign export controls. Now we have the Netherlands. So, of course, ASML is a Dutch company. So now we actually have the Dutch government itself saying that they're going to be studying these new U.S. restrictions on export of chip equipment to China because they share the U.S.'s concerns with regards to, quote, uncontrolled exports of advanced semiconductor equipment. So now Dutch government chiming in, agreeing here with the U.S., who, if you recall, did actually announce their 3rd crackdown on Chinese shipments and restrictions as of today, guys. Let's take a look here at the U.S. dollar. This is the weekly chart because we took quite the pullback on the weekly chart as of last week. This is a pretty bearish engulfing candle here. What's interesting here is we're starting this week here in December, actually, as of right now, with a high that was this previous area of resistance around that 106.50 area. We saw that throughout basically the entirety of October 2023. Then we reject this area again with a bit of a lower high in April 2024. So this level could be interesting. Let's see if we're able to close above that on a weekly basis for the DXY. Then in the monthly, we're green in the month so far. We were also green in last month as well. But what a topping tail candle for the DXY for November 2024. Of course, we did have a bit of a pullback for the DXY at the end of that month. So this will certainly be of note. Let's see if we can continue this bullish streak for the US dollar or if we push lower. I also really quickly want to touch on comments from Fed's Bostic. These were not on the calendar, though we do have comments from Fed's Waller expected here at 3:15 and Fed's Williams at 4:30. But Fed's Bostic, one of the key things noted here by Fed's Bostic was that he said he does not want people to be focused on the view that there must be a cut at every meeting. So saying that even if they don't cut, for example, in December, that doesn't mean there's not going to be cuts coming up. So that is pretty key ahead of that meeting on December 18th, exactly 3 months after the Fed cut basis points, or cut rates, by 50 basis points. So that's really interesting. Fed's Bostic saying that inflation does remain on track to reach 2%, but there shouldn't be any concerns if they don't cut at every single meeting. So that's the key thing here from Bostic. Let's see what Waller has to say during Power Hour at 3:15, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Adara. Fed Bostic dropping hot lines. It looks like he was talking around that noon hour. I thank you for that, Adara. Since we've got some time on our hands here, I can just read out some of the headlines that he's got. Bostic. Base case remains for inflation to continue falling. You don't say, brother. So this is a full article here by Reuters. You can weasel on over if you want to read the full thing. The other headline here, Atlanta's Fed Bostic says base case, this is Adair, what she was reading out, is that inflation remains on track to reach that 2%, not going into December meeting with a sense that the outcome is preordained. Coming data will be important, keeping options open. Still an open question how fast and by how much rates need to be cut to keep inflation declining while avoiding undue damage to the job market. Obviously, with that dual mandate, full employment and stable prices. Goes on to say risks to inflation and the employment mandates are roughly in balance. Good look. Justifies a move towards that neutral monetary policy. If you don't know what the neutral rate is, just quick Google search there. It'll explain that whole concept. So Bosty dropping hotlines there, Midday, and thanks Adara for letting us know, because I personally didn't know he was speaking today. So good luck there. All right, guys, we're doing pretty well here on MDAI. I did wet my beak there at 63s. We're long 38s. Again, the only reason I was weaseling into this was a VWAP hold, and here we go again. We're dancing with 60 now. We know that the high of day is 66. We just printed 63s. So the buyers are stepping in, but so are the sellers. And there is somebody shorting up a storm every time we pop into 60. It's a bit clearer on the 5-minute when you see it. Like, look at all these topping tail candles that happen to manifest just north of 60. So we'll see if that one can continue going here. I've got my next beak wetter breaking the high of day. I'm going to sit at 69s and I'm not moving it. So we'll see if this one wants to break and take 60. Right now, there is a seller of note at or north of 60 pennies. MVST continues to put lower highs. I've now moved up my stop on the small cap gapper to my break-even point. In fact, I'm front running it by a penny. So not one aspect of this trade hopefully goes against me over here as we look to mitigate risk on MVST. Shout out to Scott H., small cap gapper trader extraordinaire. There's no doubt about that. Bringing my attention to the fact that SNTI has been working its way, back into that $13, $12 range after holding up at the volume weighted average price at around $9.50. We had multiple good trades on this one. It isn't the rocket ship that it was earlier on with that uninterrupted greenery, Joseph, to make that 500% break. Like, we're still, even though we're like $4 more off the high, we're still up 469%. So this one's really moving here, but keep an eye on the volume, right? Joseph talks a lot about the volume, and more accurate he could not be. When the volume does drop off, you need to be wary of taking these things long, because you don't need volume to come down, but you do need a big boy volume to go, well, not big boy, you do need more volume though to go up. So SNTI certainly on watch over here. FOSL though, guys, I had this one up all day. On the small side charts for the small cap gappers. I didn't trade it initially because it didn't do what the look is for these small cap gappers. In other words, it wasn't trading above VWAP. So the majority of the day, in fact, until about maybe 12 o'clock, it was south of VWAP. Since that time, it's shown you its propensity to respect what looks to be the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. If you took a dip trade off the 20 exponential, you have been rewarded. Not so much if you took it off VWAP or even the 10. So the 20 featuring on FOSL, not sure why, and I frankly don't care. All I want to see is that it does make sense, and it's in fact doing that 20 hold up. So FOSL, I could certainly be persuaded to weasel into this at around the $0.25, possibly here. It's a little bit above a third of a dollar right now, dancing with that 40 penny area FOSL. ZETA or ZETA, as my American friends would like to say, this is kind of doing a bit of a rounded top. Now, I'm not going to short this north of the volume weighted average price, but it's kind of putting in that top, and then you get consecutively lower highs and lower lows, but not by that much. So it doesn't have that V-shaped effect, but it has more of that arching effect. So it's continuing to make its way into lows. Be on the lookout for a hold up here at about 27 3/4 to 23 3/4 to 23 2/3. That's where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. If it does want to hold up there, I'll absolutely take it long. ZETA with a decent day, but certainly off the high. So keeping my eye out on those. And I think we've talked about enough small cap gappers on the day. Let's weasel on over to what the large caps are doing. Okay, we talked about Google volume weighted average price. So here it is. You have a hammer candle right now, a bit of a bottoming tail candle that did touch that 171 quick as you like. It didn't even work its way all the way down to 171. 171.02 is the low of this candle over here. Lo and behold, we're at that $0.25, and we're looking at making the first 5-minute candle make a new high since, I don't know, this one over here at 12 o'clock. So we'll see if the winds of change may want to come on Google. But I should tell you, the last time it took a bit of a 2-candle pattern during the more liquid time of the day, so don't be so quick to expect this to rocket ship back into the highs. But as I say that, it is actually moving up here through that $0.25, Joseph. So GOOGL trying to catch a bit at the volume weighted average price.
Yep, for sure. Guys, so yeah, IBIT slowly recovering. I went back into Apple. Sorry about the positions board, guys. But yeah, I'm back in Apple here. This is going to be my third and final attempt on this. So let's see if we can recover, and we started to slowly turn back around to the top side. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, so guys, let me know what you're looking at. We talked about some Apple spreads earlier, some Bitcoin. And one thing that I also wanted to touch on with Bitcoin is that what I was reading in this book, which is really interesting, is that a lot of people say that Bitcoin is like kind of a hedge against inflation because there's a limited supply, right? But it also can be deflationary because people hoard it, right? So no one's spending, absolutely. Right? So just keep that in mind. I think this thing, So it was really interesting. This book is really interesting, and it really dives into the blockchain and the technology of it. So I'm looking forward to reading that. It's actually not a boring read. It's one of those that are actually interesting and good. So it's called Bubble or Revolution. It was written years ago. I bought it a couple years ago, and I never read it. And I would always bring it on vacation with me, but I never got into it. But then I was like, considering we're kind of in the phase that we're in, let's read this book. So yeah, we got a nice chunk of it done, guys. So yeah, bullish on Bitcoin, sure, why not? But yeah, guys, Apple. We're back in this thing here. Let's see if we can continue to move. We're just chopping around VWAP. So if we break this low at 239.25s, then I'm going to get out of the position, and I'm not going to try to trade this stock anymore because, again, I didn't have the best session because we tried this on IBIT. That didn't work out. As I mentioned, if it broke this pivot, it could see some potential downside. And sure enough, it did. We didn't take that short. We didn't flip the bias necessarily. So again, that's 0 for 1 on IBIT, which is totally fine. And then we kind of just messed around a bit in some NVDA. We got some working, but then we got stopped out twice, and then we got a break-even stop out there, guys. So those are the looks on the session for me. Tech was really strong. SMCI was really, really strong out the opening drive. So hopefully a lot of people got the ability to take advantage of that. But yeah, let's DJT, someone's mentioning in the chat. Let's take a quick look at DJT. I know that it was pumping the other day, but let's see what it's doing.
Yeah, it was up because Cash Patel guy.
Exactly.
Heard about that?
No, what happened?
Kash Patel, he's a board member of Trump or Truth Social, whatever it's called, Trump Media.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And he's being touted as the next FBI director. They're gonna put him as head of FUBI.
Really?
Yeah, that's
a big jump there.
Yeah, and he like and he's got some comments about the FBI. Yeah, very critical of how they were being run. Basically, wants to overhaul the entire thing. So kind of controversial from that sense. I don't care which way. That's not going to be something that affects us. But he's got very controversial views about what he wants the FBI to be. So his what's it called? Getting what do you when you go through the Senate confirmation hearings? The nomination process, thank you, Neil, it's not like a guaranteed thing, but it's like the whole Matt Gaetz thing again, but I don't think it's polarizing. In any event, that's why DJT is moving up, because he's a board member.
All right. So
well, apparently that's what is being said.
Is that, you don't watch any TV, do you?
Not very much.
No,
what do you got?
No, I wasn't going to say because I know I could tell. You just know so much that there's no time to watch any TV.
Brother,
so,
I'm not a TV guy.
Yeah,
like, I gotta tell you.
Guy, would you would just rather read?
I'm not a TV guy.
You're a reader.
Yeah. Fair. I do appreciate you, Joseph. I do watch TikTok. But Ram, you know how it is. TikTok, I doom scroll. So I've got to reserve my TikTok sessions for the weekend only, and even then, bro.
You should put the screen limit time on it. Or
I really need to, because dude, I can go down a dang rabbit hole with TikTok,
it's
man.
Bad.
It does not stop.
Have you gotten in trouble with the YouTube shorts?
Neil?
YouTube shorts.
What do you watch on TikTok?
Yeah.
Neil, can we do one more test?
No, because I don't want to.
I want one more test, Neil.
I'm a married man. And
Wow. You don't know what the story is, Joseph.
I think you told me. It's
you know about this?
Just your workout videos.
Yeah, man. The one, and it was an ad. It was an ad.
Hey, man.
It was an ad, and I got rinsed on that.
So
I'll never live that down.
You like your chances right now of not having
100%. Joseph, that never shows up, bro. On my phone, I'm all about, that, like, look, I'm going to tell you the truth. A lot of the stuff about the war, the European war, not the Middle Eastern war, I get from TikTok. And I see these soldiers like fighting or hiding for their life, bro, from these drones, like trying to camouflage themselves. And like I see all this stuff that you don't typically see on Meta, on Facebook, on Instagram.
I was thinking that the other day too when you mentioned it. I'm like, now that drone buzz, like must be the most terrifying sound now. Never mind airplanes going over your head. It's that drone buzz. That could just be absolutely
They are scared for their life, bro, and it's just hard to
see it. So it's gonna be drone wars essentially.
Yeah.
But guys, here on DJT, I really like where it's sitting at on a daily perspective. Let's see if it goes back into this range. If it doesn't, then look for that potential breakout there, guys. So I really like where this is sitting as of right now. If it decides that it wants to go back into this range and break those levels, then you can see some more potential downside, I think, there. But as of right now, I really like it on top of this range. Let's see what the remainder of the session brings and what tomorrow brings as well, too, because it's looking like DJT wants to break out there, my guy.
Joseph, we're doing real well here. Bang! On MDAI, we just take out 75s there. And I appreciate you. Volume-weighted average price hold up here on MDAI. We just took out the top. We were dealing with 60s. Well, it looks like that was, something in the distant past. We were dealing with, I believe, 66s as the high of the day. Now it's 75s. So I'm layering my orders. I've got one more beak wetter sadly left here on MDAI. I've put it at 82s. I should probably have it at a bit loftier of a target, because if we start squeezing here, we could definitely take out some different levels. Let me have a look and see what the short float is on MDAI so I can kind of temper my expectations. Look, it's got a decent short float, 9.06%, so a little bit less than 10 with a float of 9.75 million shares. So definitely on the smaller side float, not the biggest short float I've ever seen. So I'm going to just leave it there. My next profit taker at 82s. Let's see what we do with that one. But it's been very, very predictable and moving higher highs and higher lows. Mara, LOD. Yes, let's have a look at MARA. Let's see what this one does. On the day. It takes a minute to load, so just allow it a second over here. Yeah, Mara definitely breaking down after taking that $30 level, not on a closing basis, certainly on Friday, and it was one hell of a V-shaped retracement. And we tend to see this a lot on Mara, or right, where it has a big move and then it kind of gives back the entire thing.
Everything and more.
Yeah, literally. And we do have a support level right here, though, Joseph. Look at this. So going back to the 26th, there does seem to be support at 24.75 to 24.5. So this is an interesting area here, Omar. You're not going to catch me trying to catch a falling knife like this, but let's go to the 10. Let's see if there's any more support at that level. 24 and 24 and 2/3, 24.5. We'll see if this one wants to hold up there. It's an interesting level. We touched that level multiple times on the 26th. We didn't get to it on the 27th, but we got into about $25. We're well below that now. Yeah, a bit of a tougher look on. Go ahead.
So let me ask you this, Sharif, and I mentioned this earlier. So what would your strategy be? Would you go for the mining kind of aspect, or would you go for the sailor thesis and just buy on the outright market?
I want to buy either the coin directly or IBIT or the ETF.
So you wouldn't go the miner route, is what you're
I did go into Mara and I had a poor trade on it. It was
But
more
I'm saying if you were going to start a business, either Mara or MicroStrategy, not knowing where they are right now, what would you do?
Oh, so start a business, not invest.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Well, I think that Mara I'd be more able to start a Mara business because then you can basically buy some rigs, generate some money, whereas MicroStrategies, you got to buy all these Bitcoins. And I don't think I have the money for that.
No, all right, yeah. So that's
right, so I mean, that's just kind of a dumb answer, I'm sorry.
No.
But yeah, if I could choose, it would be more of a mining.
You'd be more,
But then again, I really have to think about that because the mining is not what it used to be after the halving event, but what you're mining is worth more.
Exactly,
so even though
right?
you can't mine as much, it's still worth more in value.
But it's the energy cost to mining.
I'm okay with that though.
Yeah?
I'm okay with that because there are certain areas you can find cheap energy, right?
Yeah,
Like
no,
a lot of people are mining in Texas. They're mining in these low energy jurisdictions, if I can call them that. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the look there. Okay, guys, so we're still in MDAI. I'm still waiting for a possible 82 print. Let's see what this one does. MVST, I'm still holding it because it's working its way back above $1 and seems to be putting in a compression pattern. I'm talking about MVST now, where it has lower highs but higher lows. So a bit of a compression pattern. Let's see if this one wants to resolve in the direction of the trend. And you only need to look at the percentage up on the day. The trend is up 31.68%. So I'm looking for this one to move up a bit more, but we'll see what we get, and we will not get upset. Adara, though, is at the big desk. Get it, Adara.
And here to thank our friends at eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, and capitalize. You can foresee profitable opportunities with a platform that meets all of your needs. You'll also have access to infinite data for instant trading, so you can know where the market's moving before others. With lightning fast data, as well as charts that change the game. Customize and analyze the markets faster, your way. There's also access to better backtesting and scanning so that you can help predict the future by understanding the past. And you'll have access to reliable, real-time data. That's up to the second market info from hundreds of global markets. Everything you need, all in one place. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. Are you ready to elevate your trading? Just scan that QR code or click the link in the description.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Adara. You and I were talking this morning about SMR, small modular reactors, not the stock SMR or the ETF. I think it's not even an ETF, it's a stock. Why were we talking about it? Because GE Valnova, is that how it said? Valnova or whatever, Valnova. They're looking at basically spreading all the small modular reactors all over the states that they can. And I was telling Joseph off camera that our province here in Ontario is looking at really using, or in fact, they're already building them, the small modular reactors in the north to power all the mining activities that are taking place in the Sudbury region, et cetera, all that area where it's rich in rare earth elements that obviously we're going to ship to the United States because that's where the majority of our exports goes. So they obviously have to power everything up there, and that's what they're using to power all that new infrastructure, SMRs. So I'm all about that SMR life. And the reason we're talking about that, because we were talking about crypto and mining and how it's energy intensive. So that could change the game once these things are online. Now, I should caveat that whole statement, Joseph, by saying technically it's still a science experiment because we don't have SMRs deployed en masse. So it's not like we can say, the Pickering nuclear power plant has been there since the 70s. We already know it works. It's a big boy power plant, but we don't know what the details or the day in, day out of SMRs are going to be. Still an undecided thing. So going to keep an interesting look on that. Shout out to Tony. Shout out to you, my man. I see you're engaging in the chat. Definitely appreciate that, Tony. Thank you. And you're always dropping interesting comments as well in there. Love the information that you're dropping. Guys, MVST, apparently it's working its way back above $1. So I've got my order here at 103. Let's go ahead and sit at 105, 106 as well. We're going to layer some orders here. If MVST wants to kind of curl off the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 and take out some of those tops, well, I'll be good with that. We have a 106 resistance with 109 being the ultimate area of resistance on the day because it's a high day. So we'll keep tabs on that. MDAI, though, dropping back right again into the 10 exponential at 261. I've got one more out on this one. I put it out at 82s because I like the number 82. We'll see if this one wants to keep weaseling up. Otherwise, I will take it out break even on this one. So no other trades other than MVST and MDAI, the two trades that we've kind of been involved in all day, Joseph. So interesting look today. What do you got over there?
Yeah, I'm not going to put anything else on for the remainder of the session, Sharif, because we were attempting some Apple trades, but again, it didn't really work out. Once we broke this level, I said, hey, this is time for me to get out. We had the initial short, and we cut it at the break even, and then took some small paper cuts there as we continue to move southeast here on the session. We're now south of VWAP as well too on Apple. The Qs are just trading above VWAP as well too, around 515.10s. And then we have SMCI that is putting in a really interesting 5-minute print here that I really like. So we'll take a look at SMCI. You have this indecision print right above VWAP. I don't know if this is going to hold, but if it does decide that it wants to break it to the downside, then I think we can breach VWAP. But again, this thing's up 27.5% on the session, so it's really, really strong. So again, don't fight the strength. Just kind of go with the flow and see if you can buy any dips at that point in time. So we are now acting targets in the, okay, Street. Yeah. Yeah, so sorry about that day trader cut. It's unfortunate to hear, but guys, yeah, we'll keep an eye on some of these things. SMCI, let me know what you guys are looking at, really. Why is Mara down even though they mined 907 coins last month? I think it's the margins. I think, Jasper, I think it has a lot to do with the margins. I know that you asked that a lot. Do you have anything to chime in on that? Do you know why Mara is just relatively weak? I think it's the margins.
I personally believe that it's not connected to the, like sometimes it's running with Bitcoin, but for the majority of the time, I think it runs independently of that. Like sometimes you see Bitcoin up big and Mara, be marginally.
Yeah, it'll break out and then give it back. And then
Someone had a really good question here. What happens to Mara or, these mining stocks after all the Bitcoin has been mined? Like, what do? They're going to have to obviously freestyle into something different, right? Like,
I think the objective is to just obtain as much Bitcoin as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's essentially done in 2140. But again, I mentioned earlier in the session that already over 90% of all Bitcoin that is going to be mined is mined, right? Yeah, right? So the majority of it happened in the earlier halving cycles, right? So in the first year, you got 50 coins, and then you got 25, Joseph, and then it went to 13.
Gotta interrupt.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, sure.
DJT's breaking out, guys. It's really going. It's going to take the high of the day. It just popped up like 75 cents. Okay, get it, Adara.
So I'm not sure if this is exactly what it is, but there have been, as of right now, there are some more, as Sharif puts it, belligerencies coming through here in the Middle East. We did have allegedly a ceasefire here between with Israel and Lebanon. Now, apparently, then the Israel military announced that they're going to be actually attacking targets in Lebanon because they felt like that ceasefire had been violated. So now where DJT comes into the picture with this pretty significant volume spike and candles to the upside is Donald Trump has said here, basically, if the Gaza hostages are not released by the time he is inaugurated on January 20th, 2025, there will be, quote, all hell to pay in the Middle East. So that comment coming here from President-elect Donald Trump, DJT here at day's highs, up about 4.4%. 4%. So as I get more information on that, I'll let you guys know. Interestingly enough, this is actually the only stock that I'm seeing moving in relation to these catalysts anyway. I'll keep an eye on that, guys. Back to you.
We were just talking about this, Shreve, because people mentioned it, and sure enough, as I pointed out from a daily perspective, it looked like it was going to go, and then all it needs is just a little spark.
Like
and
that.
And then sure enough,
Like that?
It breaks out, right? So it was just a matter of time, and it's now absolutely ripping. So
Yeah, so let's load it up over here, because if DJSKI is going to move, then it's incumbent upon us, number one, to look at it to see for possible trades, and number two, to cover it.
Yeah.
So 33 right now, HOD, 33.03, excuse me, HOD,
volume.
about 200, if what I can see, about 300 lots sitting at $30. Now, we already know that got breached, so that's new size that just came in there. It's still kind of doing the dance right now with 33, with that lot. It's still hanging out there, and it's not getting eaten up. Oh, here we go. That just dropped down to about 130 on one gateway. Oh, wow. But just you saw new sell orders coming in on the level 2. Now we have about 1,000 lots at 33. Let's continue to watch to see what the situation is there. So somebody looking to short Donald John Trump at that $33 area and look, those two sell orders, about 400 lots each, they were identical. So they were, I think, both 428 or 421. What does that mean? That means it's likely the same seller posting on different gateways. So be on the lookout for that. And then be on the lookout for that same person if we break above 33 to post in the same way. What do I mean? So he posted on 2 different gateways the same size. That doesn't mean that's the end of the story. What if we go up to 34 and he's still trying to short? Keep your eye out for somebody trying to post on multiple gateways with order sizes that are either identical or the similar size. So let's keep an eye out right now. We just dipped into the high 80s here, Ram, as we kind of zig and zag with that $33 level. Again, if you're just joining us right now, it looks like Middle Eastern belligerencies helping propel right now Donald John Trump a little bit higher. This did have its own separate catalyst in the morning vis-a-vis the Kash Patel possible appointment as the director of the FBI. Still has to be approved by Congress, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, that is going to be subsequent to the January 20th, inauguration. So that's a look there. Back to my trades, MDAI, nothing doing. We're still at 57s. I didn't get that 82 print. And then MVST, there's a seller of note here at $1.02. I'm going to let this one cook even when I move up to the green screen. I think maybe we can take out some levels, Joseph. We got like 30 seconds. Leave them with some thoughts.
yeah, guys. Thoughts bullish on equities. Qs touched all-time highs today. DJT is now pumping extreme volume coming in on this catalyst. And SMCI is strong, guys. So just follow the strength. And don't try to fight the trend overly too much.
Absolutely. All right, guys. It is now 2 o'clock, so Joseph and I, we're done for the day, but we will be back on. Same bad time, same bad channel. It is now time to send you over to the big kahunas.
I just forgot. I didn't put on any makeup.
Oh, no.
So
That's it.
yeah,
Cancel the show.
might have to go do that.
We're done.
I mean, you just don't get looking like this without any makeup. You know what I mean, Mark? You know, I mean, this is the thing. It's like, you know, come on. Oh, man. Yeah, so the market's starting to go to the downside. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome back.